All right, hey there, guys and gals. Anime Dude here, and today we're finally going to get to talk about a series that I have loved for many a years now, One Piece. And we're going to be determining the strongest or best devil fruit in One Piece. I don't really know how we're going to classify that yet. I guess we can talk about it a little bit. But with me today, we have Mr. Too Spooky himself. Introduce yourself, my man.
Howdy, folks. Ready to get heated.
Along with him, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Frankie.
Hi, my name's Frankie. I am the only person who actually knows what they're talking about here, so just focus on me for sure in this video.
I love the confidence, and we cannot forget the great Mr. Ninja Star. Thank you for being here today, my man.
Happy to be making my debut here. I don't think I've been on a stream or one of these videos on your channel, so it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I hope we have a blast with it. All right, I think that's everybody.
Rip.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. We also
You gotta
have
get me
Briggs
back.
from the channel All Day Anime.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Frankie's gonna be objectively wrong. That's all I want to say.
Calling him out. Let the competition begin, I guess.
Oh shit, you're the anime dude? Oh, I thought I was on the Anime Man's channel. Fuck, I'm out of here.
If anybody ever wonders why I always skip his introduction. All right. So, on this bracket, we have a bunch of devil fruits. We have all of the Logia's devil fruits, along with a few others, just to kind of round it out. I guess we should go ahead and start off round one. Matchup one with Aokiji's ice fruit and Monet's snow fruit. So, anybody have any strong thoughts about this matchup? Like, what?
I think it's just easy. The ice one's just a stronger version of the snow one, to be
Right.
fair.
Like,
To be-
confirmed.
I think it's just Aokiji is better able to use it in a 1v1 because with Monet's snow fruit, she can't really like freeze the other opponent, and that's huge disadvantage. I think it has a bit more like freedom with like, it being able to be a bit more wet, a bit more tangible and all that. But like in terms of what Aokiji was able to do with it, in terms of how effective it was in battle, I feel like anyone really could have just used it as well, to be honest. That just seems like a much more of an offensive Delphi, and just seems like you'd gain a much better like hand in the battle with it.
Yeah, I think Monet's fruit can freeze people on impact just a little bit, but then Aokiji's is just stronger. It could freeze the entire body. Aokiji could probably do everything Monet could do, but more.
Yeah.
That's
Can't forget that hug of
exactly
death.
what I was mind.
Although Monet, isn't she kind of able to? I don't know. I feel like Aokiji does have mobility for sure. Like he can go across the ocean like all he wants. But man, whenever you are in a snowstorm and you can turn into snow, if you have the environment to your advantage, I almost feel like I'm not saying that she's definitely the better fruit or has the better fruit, but I don't know. I feel like that's something to consider.
I also think go ahead, sir.
Oh, I was going to just say, think about it this way, right? The reason why she was able to hide in such a massive snowstorm is because Aokiji went crazy against Akainu over here and literally created a snow island, or half of a snow island. So that's the reason why she was able to hide in so much snow, because he created it. He made that happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say Aokiji could create a snowstorm as well. He just probably chooses not to.
Yeah, like he can touch the water and freeze a whole entire, like as far as you can see, as far as I remember.
Yeah, well, he could create ice without actually having water, right? Just by changing the
Oh,
air
yeah,
itself, right?
Yeah.
So he could probably recreate anything that the snow fruit can.
Oda has confirmed the ice fruit to be
Higher.
superior to snow, meaning
Yep.
it can do anything that the snow fruit can do and more.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like what Spook said about. Yeah, I was literally just about to mention the like the reason Monet was able to hide in the snowstorm was because Aokiji was kind of the one who brought snow to the island.
Yeah.
Like you look at it, I think that kind of speaks for itself right there. Like they're similar, but it's very easy to tell which one is the way superior one here.
No, I definitely agree. And whenever there can only be one left, I feel like we just kind of had to go ahead and pit similar fruits against each other to start out. But I just kind of had to try to say that to give the snow fruit a little bit of a advantage, like talk about it a little bit just so we don't blow it off completely because, like, I mean,
It
let's
has
be honest. The
potential.
ice
It's
fruit
worth
went head to head with the lava fruit for how many days was it? 10.
Yeah.
Right.
Days.
Like that's
Cool.
hard to beat. Like
Here's
change the
real
weather.
question. Here's the real question. Obviously, the ice fruit is very superior in every single way, but the snow fruit can create snow bunnies. So
Fair point.
Very fair
Uh,
point.
it's whichever way you lean to. I'm just throwing that possibility out there. I mean, you
Man,
haven't seen the ice fruit do that.
you would
Just
never
saying.
struggle making a snowman again. Like you can make a wonderland of snow.
But an ice bunny though, an ice bunny sounds awesome. Like,
Well, yeah,
come
but
on.
like,
For sure.
what if he can't do that? I mean, that's a possibility. We haven't seen it.
I don't think he has the artistic ability. It doesn't look like it.
Well,
Plus,
at the
I'm
end
one of
the
those
day.
guys. Weather-wise, ice kind of sucks. Like no one likes driving on ice, but like snow, that's like Christmas vibes right there. Winter wonderland of snow. I mean, strength-wise, yeah, ice wins.
I'm going with ice.
Low diff, but
You've swayed me the opposite direction.
dang.
Ice it is.
All right, ice it is. All right.
I think we're all voting ice here.
Yeah.
All right, so Ice with the 5-0 sweep moves on to the next round. That didn't take too long, but next we have a very lopsided matchup. We have the Swamp Fruit versus the Lightning Fruit. And I think we can all agree that Caribou's Swamp Fruit is far, far superior to the Lightning Fruit. Am I right?
Well, when it
Obviously.
comes to capacity,
I
Yeah.
think I believe that the swamp fruit's probably the weakest Logia fruit.
It
I
is.
well,
Or I
I've given
believe-
it some thought, and I kind of think there's a different one that's weaker.
Yeah, I
but,
agree.
I would say his is second weakest.
Really?
I agree.
Mhm.
I
We'll
can't
get
even
into
think
the
of
other
a
one
fruit that
later
could
for
be as
sure.
weak as that.
I mean,
It's
the
like, you
biggest.
go ahead.
Oh, so I was just gonna mention the biggest thing going for Karibo's is the storage, but aside from
Yeah.
that, like in terms of usage in battle and all that, it doesn't go as much further than that, honestly. Like the main reason for why I use it is really like it's almost like a Paramecia in some sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was about to say is when you're talking about the swamp fruit, it's not going to be very strong in a head-to-head fight per se compared to the other Logias, but you have the storage ability and you also have the ability to kind of make like parts of your body intangible. Like I feel like it's almost a very good fruit if you're trying to be very covert, very low-key, trying to.
Yeah, you could probably hide pretty well.
It would be a great
That's
thief.
what he does, like, heal-
fruit. Yeah.
Oh, the barrel.
like hide and
Can we
make his
forget
ear
about that?
appear in one room to kind of eavesdrop, things like that. Like,
Yeah. Then
He-
Go, sorry.
I was just gonna say he'd also be really good against like weak people who don't have a lot of that thigh strength, if you know what I'm talking about. Like he could just create a big old puddle of swamp and just sink everybody and suffocate them. But if you got that upper leg strength, you're it's not gonna be a competition.
Oh, and that's the big thing that kind of hurts the swamp fruit, in my opinion, is just the fact that aside from drowning opponents, we really haven't seen it do much offensively at all. It's not a
Because I don't think it can.
strong fruit.
And it also begs the question, like, would it even like hurt a Del fruit user, given like it's able to drown someone? Like, I mean, I guess there's that idea going for it, but we haven't really seen it explored too much, so I don't want to like use that as like a major point for it. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
still going for Enaru's fruit just because I think that like based off what we see, like it was utilized amazingly with like the bolts it was able to put out with how much it could just freaking like disintegrate everyone. It was like, yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
think we
got a
can
lot
also-
of extra abilities too.
I think we can also agree that the Rumble fruit was shown almost way too early in the series. Like it was so much stronger than anything we'd seen prior. And
Right.
Not only could he move, I think it was around the speed of lightning. I'm not sure how quick that would be. I think it's around the third of the speed of light, but he could
Yeah.
move like that. He could use that with you could use it with observation hockey to hear for miles. You can do so many things with it. It's so
Yeah, like not only is it like super like, powerful in terms of obviously like lightning, it's just super fast as we're able to see, literally light speed, speed of lightning, all that.
So I basically just trumped my own argument because I'm like, hey, Caribou can use the swamp fruit to listen in on others, but man, the rumble fruit on its own, it can do all that and more. Like you can
Well, we
use that for
Go
so
ahead.
much.
I was gonna mention that, like, I mean, granted, I mean, I'm still going for the Rumble Fruit, obviously, but the way Eneru was able to hear in on other people was through his like super high observation hockey. Whereas with the
Mhm.
Mud Fruit, I feel like if it was like someone who wasn't really proficient in observation, they could probably use that, like hearing in on others' skill a bit more, because that's
Fair
just
enough.
kind of comes with the Del Fruit.
All right. Eneru definitely takes like probably all of our votes, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Rumble fruit all the way. Like 5-0.
Rick the swamp fruit.
See, so this first round hasn't been too what's
Too
the word?
controversial.
Too
But I think the next
controversial,
one's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be hard.
Now.
Hasn't
Yeah.
been too competitive.
Until now.
What are you talking about? This is an easy one, right?
Oh, I don't know. I'm kind of actually undecided on this next
Yeah,
one.
I have to
Actually,
really
I do.
listen to what you guys have to say.
Because I have like some thoughts about both of them, and I'll just open up here since we're already starting. But basically, for the dark fruit and the glint fruit, right?
Mhm.
I kind of want to say I want to go with the dark one, but I don't know if it's the logical choice because there's so much we don't know about it, and there's certain things that if we knew the answer, would definitely sway me one direction or the other. And that's mainly like, is the Yami Yami no Mi the reason why Blackbeard is able to take other fruits in general? Because if that's why, then like it's no contest in my opinion. But otherwise,
I think we can basically say it's confirmed that that's not the case. Since
But
like
it's
Fergus
not
and stuff
confirmed.
were trying to steal devil fruits without Blackbeard being present.
I think. I think. Yeah. I would say so. Yeah. That is the problem with like the Yami Yami no Mi, especially. Like we really have no idea. It's like that. There's so many because Blackbeard is such a mysterious character.
Mhm.
And we don't know like which one. All right, which comes from his previous history, which comes from the Devil Fruit. But based off it, I mean, I can see arguments for both sides. But as we saw with someone like Kizaru, if someone has hockey, they're able to get past the whole intangibility, the whole super duper fast thing. Granted, Rayleigh was very proficient in hockey, but it still goes to show,
Yeah, the thing is, I think Rayleigh could probably like fuck up most Logia type users because he's like a master of hockey, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's kind of hard to compare because like these people have all been like really privileged to have these amazing Logia devil fruits that most people can't even defend, like can't do any damage to them, and then they run into someone like Rayleigh who's just like on the complete opposite extent where he's like unbelievable with hockey.
I
Here's-
think. Go, sorry.
I was about to say there is something I want to point out. Go ahead and point out is the fact that the Yami Yami no Mi, it doesn't have intangibility. I don't believe at all. Like Ace didn't use any hockey, and he's still able to kind of hit him.
It's because he
he-
takes more damage. He takes everything in.
But
yeah,
the
exactly. He
vortex
can pull
part is
anything
the main-
towards him like a black hole, so he kind of has like almost like a gravity type power to him, and he can nullify any other, basically any other devil fruit user. He is like the bane, the natural enemy of any devil fruit user in existence and stuff, even without being able to steal their powers per se.
Yeah, but you also got to take into account like how like let's say Whitebeard was able to like go up against like Whitebeard was most likely using hockey there. Like I'm always trying to take hockey into account to see like how the Devil Fruit would work with like, someone out with that. And we're able to see with Kizaru, if you have like some really good armament hockey, then you're able to combat. But with like it's tough because like the two characters with hockey that were able to combat each of those, they're both very high tier. So it's
Yeah.
like Whitebeard, like Rayleigh.
For sure, that's definitely something to consider because when you're talking about the strongest devil fruit, you're talking about it being used at a very high level. And anytime you have a high level fight in One Piece, there's almost always going to be hockey involved.
Very true. Very true.
All right. Here, since I've given my argument for the dark one, right? Here's why I'm more leaning towards the light fruit or the glint fruit, right?
Yeah.
So basically, Kizaru can move at light speed, right? Like that's confirmed.
But
That's
there is
how
a
it
charge up period, so I feel like
Yeah,
True.
that is very crucial,
True.
and it's far from confirmed that his body is impacting people at
True.
speed of light.
But think of it this way: since Blackbeard takes in like basically any attack, like times 2, times 4, times whatever, he takes a lot more damage from a normal attack, right? So all Kizaru would need to do is just use his ability to, teleport as far away as he can and just shoot a frickin' laser beam at him.
yeah.
A light beam. Just shoot that from afar, and like since it's traveling so fast, unless Blackbeard is like super quick himself, which I mean he's definitely not the fastest guy in the world. Like let's be real here. He's gonna hit like if he fails to block that or nullify it or whatever he's got to do, that's gonna frickin' hurt. Like we've seen that when Marco had the Sea Stone handcuff on, it just pierced right through him. So if Blackbeard gets pierced, it's going to do just that much more damage.
I know I already kind of touched a little bit upon the Yami Yami no Mi, but just to go a little bit further into it, as far as Blackbeard is concerned, Blackbeard's not as dumb as we'd like to believe that he is. Like, he's a pretty smart, conniving. He plans out things out a lot. He's a very smart individual, and I think there's something to be said with the fact that he planned for years and years. Like, he looked for one specific devil fruit out of the encyclopedia, and whenever he finally found that fruit, like, that was the one he was willing to risk it all and betray Whitebeard just to get that one fruit. And that fruit was the Yami Yami no Mi.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that he would choose that over any fruit, including the glint fruit, I feel like that at least needs to be mentioned. Like, I don't know what all there is about it that was so attractive to him, but
I want to mention this real quick. I'm looking at like the descriptions and everything, and now I see something that's really interesting. In addition, I'm reading this forward. In addition, while the ability to nullify Devil Fruit's abilities is very powerful, the user must actually be in touch and remain in contact with the victim for the effects to remain constant. So he would have to, assuming we're like just setting up the like what if Blackbeard versus Kizaru, Blackbeard would have to constantly be in contact with Kizaru for the effects to really like have a long-lasting impact. But as we can see how fast Kizaru is, speed of light, like we mentioned, that's where it starts to be in a bit more towards Kizaru's favor, because Blackbeard is kind of at a disadvantage if Kizaru is able to work around him and really able to pierce him. As we know, Blackbeard takes way more damage. I think the Delph, that's a huge thing holding the Delpher back. I think, and this is straying away a bit. Do you guys think if Blackbeard's Delpher didn't have the thing where it takes more damage to him, do you think it would maybe turn the tables a bit and would make it a bit more in Blackbeard's favor?
I think it would. I feel like because has that weakness where he does have to take damage, facing off against someone who's super strong could probably take him out.
And
it's a pretty big problem, honestly.
Yeah.
It is.
It's the biggest drawback, but that's kind of like again, we don't know. He like Jordan said, he wanted this Devil Fruit for a reason. There's obviously some bigger plan at play here, which makes me partially believe it's somewhat required for obtaining other Devil Fruits, even if that's not like the actual way he's able to do it. Like, it plays some key role, and if that was the case, it makes me want to pick it, because obviously, you know, you can do a lot more with it than just like its initial ability by taking others. But if that's not the case, then like, I feel the Glint fruit is easily the superior one.
Yeah, I think we just don't know yet, right?
Yeah, it's just all speculation.
And I haven't really touched too much on the glint fruit myself. I know you guys mentioned towards the beginning that the charge up time is probably one of the biggest downfalls of that fruit in particular. And so taking Kizaru out of it for a bit and taking Blackbeard out of it for a bit, if we were to give one of these fruits to two equally strong individuals, how do you think that fight would play out? Do you think the taking more damage would be a bigger disadvantage, or do you think having to charge up and be slower for a span of time before you can move fast, do you think that would be a bigger disadvantage?
I think the light one's still stronger for the time being. I just want to talk about something that Frankie said. Frankie, I feel like you mentioned that like it's not confirmed that his like attack power is at the speed of light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I personally think it is. I think it's not instantaneous because he has to charge up, but once he does pull off his attack, I think it's at the speed, like the power would be at the speed of light, because like to me that's I'm sure people have tried to debunk it or whatever, but to me that's kind of like basic physics in regards to like things in motion want to stay in motion. So if you're traveling at like 100 kilometers an hour and then you go to punch someone, that punch is at 100 kilometers an hour. It doesn't automatically slow down.
And all that force
that is fair. But if we're going to use the term basic physics, then it's worth noting that anything with mass cannot possibly move at the speed of light.
And that's what I was.
My argument is he is moving as light towards his whatever he's about to destroy, and then right before the moment of impact, he changes back into a human kind of form, so he can act. You can't hit someone with light. That wouldn't do any damage.
And that's what I agree. That's what a Logia does, is allow you to control, create, and transform into something. And with light, he can turn into light, and he can move as fast as light while he is a photon or in photon form. But you got to transform back before you're able to actually
I think
But
that's
what
the
I'm
key.
just saying is like regardless of the object's mass, like whether it's a feather or a brick or something that weighs 1,000, like whatever, like 100 tons, if it's moving at a certain speed, like the weight to a certain extent doesn't matter. I guess there is a theory about like light can't something that's not something that has a mass can't move at the speed of light. Again, like, but I'm
It's
just
not a
saying like.
theory.
Oh, so is it that whatever for physics, whatever? The only thing I'm saying is regardless of the mass, if something's moving a certain speed, like it'll maintain that speed type of thing.
Well, here's my thing.
There's nothing that's wanting to slow it. There's nothing that's really slowing it down. You're saying like there's a change of state, but
If we say that light itself can't hurt you, right? Then like, what do we classify those laser beams as?
Oh, that's fair. I didn't think
Like
of that.
that's supposed to be like light, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the whole.
I don't
point.
think so, but
I mean, I guess it could be something else, but
and can that
It's
move at
also
the speed of
anime.
I
light?
mean, you can have lasers that
I
move.
believe it was confirmed that they can.
In which
Yeah.
case, then I definitely think then his force would still be the same speed of light.
I think I'd have to vote for the glint glit fruit at the end of the day. But I wanted to give the Yami Yami no Mi a fair chance.
I also agree. I have to vote for it at this point, but I would bet money that by the end of the series, there's going to be so much added to the dark fruit.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be overwhelming. It's like, obviously, this is better. But I'm voting for the one as of right now.
For the time being, I think the Yami Yami has just showcased much better things because with the, or not Yami, sorry, Kizurus. Yeah, Yami Yami's a lot of it just requires a lot of like speculation and just assuming, and there's like so much we don't know about it, like with the whole like, all right, what can truly be nullified, what can't, all that, and vortex, what goes there. Whereas with Kizurus, I think we can gain enough of a idea of how it would apply to how it would still work, even if it were to given to like a regular a regular person who isn't just someone high level like Kizuru.
Frankie, let me give you an example. Like if I'm in a car or in a plane, like obviously I can't move at that speed, but I am moving at that speed, So like even though Kizuru's body can't move at that speed, because he was already moving at that speed while he's in his light form, he's still moving at that speed for that instant.
I feel what Briggs is saying. Force is equal to mass times acceleration.
Well,
And
I'm pretty sure it's
You're not
Newton's
gonna.
law where
you
things in
still got
motion
that
want to stay in
acceleration
motion.
for you.
I mean, this whole
But
hypothetical situation would have to be taking place in a vacuum.
Yeah, well, air resistance and all that bullshit. But,
Like, we're not right. That's what I'm saying, and that's why it's different.
well, no, but like even not in a vacuum. Like say I'm in a car that's moving 200 kilometers an hour and I jump out of the car. There's still an instant where I'm moving at the same speed of the car. It's gonna slow down like pretty fast, but there's gonna be an instance where I'm moving 200 kilometers even though I'm not in the car anymore.
oh, Briggs, all your recent power scaling videos have been preparing you for this one argument.
No,
This is one argument. This
There's
is one
too many
matchup.
physics courses that I've taken, but I guess there is like if
I do
you
like
like
it.
the mass can't move like something that weighs something can't move at the speed of light, but
Mhm. But you still got that acceleration going for you, so I feel what you're saying. Like you're not just gonna suddenly go to a stop just because the mass changes.
yeah. Or in which case it would still be very, very, very close to the speed that he was previously going.
Yeah. But what's the vote count right now?
I think it's gonna be
Probably
5.
5-0.
I
I
think
haven't voted yet, but
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go ahead and say that I never thought I'd say this, but I'm going to go ahead and agree with Frankie 100%. Like we'll probably
Why?
see
Why
more.
would you never say that?
End of series, end of series. I think it'll be a different story once we
Exactly.
find out more. But
Yeah.
as for
But
thinking for what we know, we can't just make assumptions. We just have to go with what we have so far. Light. It's so weird. You'd think like this would be like one that doesn't get washed, but
hmm
here we are.
It's also kind of like the natural weakness. Like I feel if we were to put Blackbeard up against other people, it wouldn't be the same outcome.
I
Yeah.
feel like it wasn't really necessarily a wash. Like I feel like we got a good discussion out of it. Like it was one where we were all kind of undecided going into it. And-
Yeah. Like, was there anyone who was like definitely like on one side or the other, like before we presented our arguments?
I think I was just because we don't know enough about the dark fruit, but I also agree that by the end, I think our opinions are gonna change quite a bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, so the Pika Pika no Mi moves on, 5-0. So next round, let me
Oh boy,
pull this up and take a look.
this is the hardest one. If I'm
Man. This is the one where I'm going to go ahead and vote first.
On
I'm going to surprise you guys with this, but I want to go ahead and vote first, and I'm going to vote for the ox fruit.
oh my god, how did you? Okay,
I'm-
please.
I really am though. I'm not even kidding. Like,
Oh my. Okay, let's
Is
Lay it
that
on
gonna
me.
be is that
Lay it
based
on
on the idea that the stone fruit like requires stones to be around
Yes,
you? Yeah, okay.
paramecia refer like you have to have stone around you, and even when you do, like freaking what's his name, the squeaky voice dude. Even whenever he had a whole castle full of stone, like a whole city full of stone, like there wasn't much that he could do with it aside from be annoying for
This
forever.
is facing Zoro.
Like I don't care. Like I mean, we're considering a fight of the strongest
Alright.
strong.
The stone
You're
is
not
here's the
going
thing.
to fight that
Here's
can't
the
cut
thing.
stone.
I feel like the thing is though, he can use it like it doesn't have to be like straight up like a castle or anything. Like he's definitely taken stone like from the ground. So I feel like as long as there's some sort of rock formation like underneath him at any point, he could probably like submerge himself into the ground and go get it and then just bring that to the surface.
Possibly, but
And-
like here's my thing.
Yeah.
Like Zoro aerialized him, threw him up in the air, and that was basically what was his downfall. But like say we have these fruits, you know, say one belongs to a person that's equally as strong as the other. No matter where you are, the ox fruit is just going to make you stronger and faster, better version of yourself compared to the stone fruit where if you're suddenly thrown in the air or something, like you're screwed. You got nothing going for you. You have no addition.
Well,
Have
it
you
is.
seen Pika's abs? They're basically stone as it is.
And here's the thing, like we were going into this bracket, I wasn't so determined to choose one over the other, but as I thought about it a little bit and as I saw that you guys were already calling this one a wash, I felt the need to, you know, defend the ox fruit a little bit.
I mean, while the stone fruit is definitely like I guess the more situational. Like, yeah, you can't just like transform into stone. You kind of need something around you. I feel like with how common stone would be in the One Piece world, if you put them in any environment, I mean, yeah, that is kind of an assumption to make. If you just put them in like a random, like mysterious area with no stone, obviously, the Oxford would win. But I feel like with how common stone is and with how great you can be with it, as we saw with Pika, I feel like that would definitely be the better overall. But yeah, that does kind of rely on the assumption that the environment doesn't, or the environment will have some stone. But I feel like with how common it actually is, Pika would probably be able to just, you know, use it and pull from the ground, like what Spook said.
I'd imagine if he's gonna go somewhere where there might not be stone, he could bring stone with him and just walk around as like a stone being, right?
Yeah.
Possibly. I mean,
The ox fruit is good. It doesn't possess like any major weakness or whatever. It's just kind of like, yeah, you're
lot of-
faster and good as an ox, but that's about as far as it goes. Nothing exceptional. like
Top tier ox.
top tier, the best ox you could be, but it's still an ox, man. Come on.
man, like here's my thing. Like, yes, it's nothing really special about it compared to other Zoans. That's what most Zoans do is they just make you bigger, faster, stronger version of yourself. But I think Zoans as a whole are kind of slept on. So, you know, I know
agree with that.
Paramecias are usually
I-
seem a lot more useful and stronger, but
I agree, but I think the stone fruit is like when it's good, it's really, really good, and I think it at its best would be much better than like the ox fruit at its best. While the ox fruit is less situational, I'll give you that.
I think you're generally gonna have stone at your disposal.
Right.
Yeah, in one way or another, I feel like you're gonna be able to find some. Like even if there's a pebble on the street, like theoretically, you know, just use that to turn your whole body into stone because you have like a catalyst.
Right.
Like
Okay.
obviously it might not work that way.
Or just like beat the crap out of them with that one pebble. Like you could do that. It could be like in the Boo Saga of DBZ where Vegito just turned into that little candy and just like beat up Super Boo like with it. You could use that with the pebble. You know?
I mean, Katakuri kills people with jelly beans.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, you guys have made some strong points, but I just, man, I could have let my boy Dalton be sweet. That
I'm happy. I didn't want this to be a watch. I want it. This is.
I mean, you could be wrong, but I appreciate the effort.
I will vote for stone.
I will also vote for stone.
Stone all the way.
Dr. Stone.
You know what? I might be wrong, but I'm gonna go ahead and stand by my wrong opinion and vote Ox, even though Stone's gonna be moving forward.
Yeah.
It seems like
Respectable.
4-1.
He stood his ground.
He stood his ground.
All right, so the stone fruit moves on. I do want to go ahead and clarify for anybody watching this video that I'm sure you probably already know this, and we just talked about it a little bit. But even though this fruit or this bracket is full of logias, the stone fruit is not a it's not a logia. It's a paramecia that just lets you control other stones. You cannot turn into a stone. So
Truth. Well, I mean, you can, but you have to have stone around.
exactly.
You can't just do it without stone.
do it.
And even that, you're not really turning into it. You're just kind of coating
Yeah.
yourself with like stone armor.
Yeah.
or
Yeah, you're
whatever.
simulating yourself with the stone.
Which I felt the need to point that out a little bit, just because I know there's already some kind of confusion between fruits like this and the poison fruit with Magellan and stuff. Like
Yeah.
people
Like,
usually kind of mistake those for Logias. So
I have people tell me that Luffy's a Logia sometimes, and I lose brain cells every time. But
So I just wanted to point
He's
that out.
rubber, bro.
He turned into an element, Spooks. He turned into something.
tell me over here.
All right. So for the fifth matchup of the first round, we have the Magna fruit versus the Flame fruit. And I want Frankie to kind of go first and give his opinion on this from his video. I
have redacted my claims in that video.
Are you sure? Because your claims convinced me. I think I want to stand by what you said.
Well, I mean, there's two things really which made me just say whatever. I mean, we do have the whole absurdity of Oda claiming that the flame fruit is inferior to the magma fruit.
It is kind of whack.
It's so illogical that I don't even know what to say. But I mean, whatever. I guess that's his thing. So he did that. And while there is the whole thing where flames could theoretically be hotter than magma, that's pretty hard to do. And I don't know if that's even possible for the user of the flame fruit to accomplish. And since we're getting more into it, magma is physical, where flames are just combustion.
Yeah.
So there's not really much going on there in comparison.
Well, you could go both ways with that. So, for example, the magma one would be able to it burns you and provides a physical like hit, for example, because it has
Right.
mass. But the thing is, because it's heavy, he'd be slower by extension, or the attacks would be slower. And then since the other one's just a gas, it might not burn you as much, but then he would be more versatile in battle. Like he could probably move faster, the attacks could be faster. So I think it's situational at that point. But at the end of the day, I'm probably gonna vote for the magma one, just because one, it could do more physical damage and it's hotter, and I don't know. I feel like even people that had hockey to a certain extent, were kind of overwhelmed by the magma.
Well, and that's one thing to kind of point out is I don't know if it was confirmed or not, but out of all the devil fruits out there, it definitely has one of the highest offensive powers if we're talking about the Magna fruit or the Mag fruit or whatever you want to call it. And all the arguments that we gave to Aokiji, we also got to give to Akainu's fruit because he changed the weather on an island after fighting for 10 days. I guess you could say that it struggled against ice, which you would think it would have a clear advantage against, but
Yep.
I think that just shows both users' capacity.
Yeah.
that might be talking more about the users per se than the actual fruit themselves, but
it also shows how far the fruits can go.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, well, we also got to take into account. I know I keep bringing up hockey, but I think it's always important because a lot of people point to, well, obviously Magma was able to burn through fire, and we always have to think well, was Ace using hockey at that moment? Was he not? There's that question that goes into it when considering if Magma is able to really kind of neutralize the intangibility of fire and all that. Because
I feel like we could likely assume that Aokiji,
Ace.
Ace probably has less hockey ability than an admiral, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was just asking like if you were given it to two normal people without hockey, it would still probably
Be the magma.
intangible. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying for a fight between Ace and I always forget his name. What's his name?
Akainu?
Akainu. There we go. Between a fight between them two, even if Magma was stronger than Flame, if both of them were using hockey, because we don't know the extent of what they were using, it could have been that Magma overcame the fire fruit simply because of hockey as well.
Well,
Yeah.
I have a quick hot take theory right here, right?
Hot tip, pun intended.
Oh yeah. But think of it with Katakuri, right? Since he has such advanced observation hockey, when someone's coming at him with hockey, he's able to move out of the way, right? and then he can also like reform himself over their like attack and basically like trap them, right? Like everyone knows that. So like theoretically with Magma, if he had the same ability, someone could punch through him and he could just move out of the way so he doesn't take their hockey blow, and then literally just wrap his magma around their like arm or whatever and just burn the shit out of them.
Same for fire.
Like they're trapped. But with with Katakuri, they're just stuck.
Here's the
But with
thing,
him,
though.
like it's actual damage.
Right, like I'm imagining somebody shooting a fire fist at somebody, and then sure, they get hit by it, and then it just disappears. But if somebody launches a fire fist version like Magma style, it's going to have the same effect, and then it's going to be all over them. It's like it's still there, and it's a
Doesn't go
huge
away.
threat.
Yeah, and also because it has a mass, it's like you're getting hit by something
Right.
that's heavy. It can knock you
Yeah,
out. It can
Exactly.
It's still there.
Boils the water.
One that's actually a solid, one that's just like combustion or whatever. I
Yeah.
think that's important.
I think literally the only benefit I feel like I could give to Ace is the fact that like he could probably move around a lot faster.
Yeah.
Mobility aspect. I
Which
think that was
is
the main
important.
argument that Frankie used in his video, if I remember correctly. I guess it's been a little while since I.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So
like
it's
I
hard
said,
because we're comparing them head to head, but I think like depending on who they're fighting against, sometimes Aces could be more beneficial.
Oh, totally. But like, if it was just these two versus each other, like even if Ace was able to like, use his speed to get a lot closer, like I was saying, like as soon as he tries to actually like do damage, he's just gonna get burned.
Yeah.
Like assuming that obviously the magma burns the fire, blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
Well, I believe it's also worth mentioning though that like I don't want to say anything that's wrong, so like I'm trying to kind of look at it a little bit. But didn't Akainu kind of go head to head with people that could use hockey, and it like you have to have your hockey at a pretty high level.
Oh, yeah,
to
he
be able
did.
to- yeah,
And
you
the
gotta
Magma
have
still
your hockey
did
at a
wonders
pretty high
as well.
level just to
I
be able
forget
to-
who hit him exactly, but they did say, "Oh my god, that was a hockey attack," but nothing happened. Yikes!
Mhm.
And is
So-
it because he had a high level of hockey, or was it because he was using the Magma as like a barrier? Like,
I mean, he could have that observation hockey. I don't know.
It's been a combination of both, but like I just feel like
well, what I'm thinking is like how like Aokiji could change his environment to ice, and that's no longer part of his body, so he could use that as like a shield to protect him. I'm thinking maybe Aikino could do the same thing, in the fact that like he could create a magma barrier that's no longer part of his body. So it's like your hockey's not going to help you against that. It's actually just a physical like strong piece of magma that you're trying to punch through.
Exactly. Yep.
He can also fly. We're forgetting that.
Akainu could fly.
Yeah, he could just launch himself into the air with his magma.
I'd imagine it'd be like a lot slower than Aces.
I
Oh yeah,
Ace
probably.
able
I
to-
don't know if that would be like sustained flying though. It seemed more like
gliding. Yeah, gliding. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's surfing. We'll just put it that way.
Surfing with Magma.
Pretty intimidating surfing.
everybody gone surfing.
He can also create like a literal meteor shower. I mean, that's something. I don't think the flame fruit could do that.
Yep.
Maybe just
But-
throw some Mario fireballs.
Hold on. Since everybody seems so lopsided, real quick, let me fight for the Mara no Mi real fast.
Oh boy.
Is there a boat that works on Magma that can let you travel the seas by yourself?
Well,
I
he
don't
could
think
just
so.
surf.
Yeah, you could literally surf.
That's no fun. Like Ace's boat is so cool. Like he literally just jumps on it. Powers
yeah,
up
well,
fire.
Aokiji rides a bike.
On ice in the water.
Oh, the real matchup we needed, but not
Boat
bike
versus
versus
bike.
bike. Yep. Not
Well, I
today.
think there's a chance. What's it? Aokiji's and freaking Akainu's might go up against. One. I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. It's possible.
It is possible.
We'll have to see about that one.
I don't think it's gonna be the case, but it's possible.
Man, we might argue about that one for 10 days if that happens.
Oh, well, I'm throwing my vote for Magma Boy.
yep.
Yeah, Magma boy, Magma Carter. It's not the Magma.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
I
same.
can't. I
And I
can't.
think the next one's gonna be a blowout too.
Man, I thought this was actually going to be a good bracket without too many
All right.
blowouts in the first round. But
It might get better once it gets deeper into.
Oh, the second round's gonna be like
So
Second
this one right here, right? You remember how earlier I said
Yeah,
the
this
weakest
is the one.
Logia? This is the weakest one.
This is the
Frick the
weakest.
smoke fruit. The smoke
What?
fruit's the worst.
What?
Out of the Logias, it's the worst.
he
I
can
rank
fly.
Smoke above
Spooks.
Swamp still.
He can turn his legs into smoke and fly. Like crazy.
But like what has the smoke fruit ever done for anybody except
went head to
early
head
One
with the
Piece when no
Marimar
one had
Nobu.
any abilities?
No, it did not go to. Oh no, it did not go
But-
head to head with the flame fruit.
But what does the swamp fruit do? It's just like like people can't hit him like any other Logia fruit, and then he could trap people.
Well, yeah, but just
right?
think, like he's got that storage ability. Like,
yeah,
what
but
is the
I
smoke fruit?
would
like,
do
it's gonna
fly-
make you cough? I don't know.
Well, that is one thing that hasn't really been expanded upon too much in the One Piece world, but he has been shown like using his fruit to not choke people per se, but like make it to where they can't breathe as much. And I know that Caesar can definitely do that as well, and he's been shown doing it a lot better. But you know, if he could do that, I think that adds a lot to the smoke fruit. If he can make it a lot harder for people to breathe and
Oh,
yeah,
totally.
I'd say the only reason I rank it one above the swamp is because he could fly, which is like really versatile in battle, and because he could like affect visibility in a fight.
Yeah.
So
Like-
he could sense what's going on around him through the smoke, but at the same time, people might not be able to see him.
And
So I
it
think
would-
it's more
it would-
useful.
It would require a lot of. I feel like with the smoke fruit, you would need to like train yourself a lot. Like obviously, Smoker was able to utilize it well because he was a Marine, but you're just thinking like a regular person, like a big thing with the smoke, you'd be able to utilize it with your melee attacks. But if you're not good with that, then
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Whereas
I-
with like the other one, you don't have to be strong to just like kind of
Mhm.
use its
Yeah.
abilities.
Like I used to think it was a lot better than it was, but as we've like progressed, like power scaling wise, just
Well,
as
Hockey
One
now.
Piece has progressed, like as soon as hockey's a thing, like Smoker's useless. I mean, did you see how he got bodied by my guy Virgo over here? Like, what can
By
you
who?
do? Like by Virgo.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like you can't do anything. Like literally, you try to go into smoke, any hockey user is just gonna be like, nah, bud. You just
Okay, but I think he
Flick
could
it.
probably do more in a
did-
battle than the
just-
swamp guy. No offense. Even if the swamp guy was fighting Virgo, he would have got.
Okay, well, of course, we're not talking about Caribou versus.
Yeah, we're talking Smoker versus.
I'm just saying my
Caesar.
ranking
I
list.
think
I feel like Caesar's gonna
better
slap
off with
Smoker.
the-
Caesar's fruit is hella underrated, and I'm probably gonna have to argue that later. Yeah, like you can just walk up.
I agree with
Yeah, you can't breathe, dog.
I agree. That's why I was saying, like, before we started the stream, I was like, yeah, there's some instances where Delfruit's actually pretty good, but, like, the user isn't very,
Yeah.
like, and Caesar's a great example of that. He has
Yeah.
some, and same with, like, a lot of the other.
Like if you took his intelligence and gave it to like a physically stronger individual, it'd be like pretty unstoppable in most cases.
I guess
I
that's
have to
another
argue
thing to
for it.
consider. I didn't even think about that. Like, how good would his fruit actually be though if it was with somebody that was physically stronger, but not quite as intellectually sound?
Like there's multiple reasons why it could be better, and I'm sure I'll have to argue that in future rounds because I mean, let's be real here. If we're trying to pass Smoker off here, I'm gonna be upset because
No, no
he's
chance.
booty compared to
Hey.
Caesar fruit here.
I literally was arguing him against the swamp guy because I knew Caesar was gonna slap.
So I'll save my arguments for later brackets so we're not repeating ourselves here. But like,
yeah, I mean,
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't think we need to get too into depth on this particular.
let's just say one of them can poison, the other one can't.
Mhm.
We're
I don't know.
kinda
I hate this.
similar.
And,
smell of
like,
smoke. It's pretty
you
cool.
kind of, I like obviously I could just be like, you know, misregarding my elements here, but does smoke need oxygen to like be a thing?
Probably.
'Cause I feel like it probably does. Like I don't know, I don't remember what elements like exactly make up smoke, but
Yeah.
I feel like since it's a gas, like Caesar could probably just, you know, manipulate that himself already, or just take away the ability for it to even like exist within that area. So Smoker would be like walking up, oh wait, I can't do anything because Caesar's using whatever fucking ability to like nullify my smoke. Like it's kind of a natural weakness in a way. Since smoke is like, well, I don't know, is it a gas? Yeah, it's a
I
gas.
don't know.
I
Yeah,
think it's also like with poisonous gases being able to give birth to stuff like Smiley and all that, like
Mhm.
able to really create something great, even if you aren't like, you know, physically that strong. I think that Delphi just is a lot better than the smoke
Alright.
one.
So going a little bit away from the strongest argument, I do have one quick question about the smoke fruit that might be kind of dumb, but I'm just very curious to see what you guys think.
It's a long-term
Um,
answer.
Do you guys think he has to smoke as much as he does to kind of get used to the element, or is he
No.
just like really?
Was he born
I
with
think
the name
it's cigars.
Smoker and he just happened to get that Delphi? That's like what
That's
I
what
wonder.
that's what I think too. Like, man,
In the 4 Kids, he was named Chaser.
Seriously?
Yeah.
He smoked. Okay, they censored his cigar, so he
Yeah,
just
I
had
know
smoke
about
coming
that.
out of his
I
mouth.
did not
smoker
know
has
his
to
name
be
was
more of a
Chaser.
nickname.
Yeah, it's Mayo Casey.
Wow.
It has to. And then probably I think what happened, my headcanon, probably got the smoke thing, but took him a while to get used to it, so he had to start smoking in order to get used to it, and then he started smoking so much that's how he got the name.
Man,
I
I
can
feel like
see
that has to be a nickname though. Like
Yeah, I feel
real
like it
name
is a
is
nickname.
probably something D.
I mean, Big Mom has a child named High Fat, so I'm not surprised anymore.
High fat. Oh, gotta love One Piece. Anyways,
Oh, yeah.
after that question, I guess we can all agree it's probably 5-0. Gas beats smoke. Am I right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Caesar goat,
yeah.
man.
All right. Like that's another one I wish I could argue more for smoke, but there really isn't much of an argument.
Smoker is not aged well, like since the time. Like his devil fruit, it is aged the worst.
Yep. He needs to power up.
Logias used to feel like the most overpowered thing before hockey was introduced.
Oh,
and
dude, they're
then
worthless now.
now, like people realize paramecias are where it's at for the most
Oh,
part.
it's more like them. The mythical
Zoans.
zones is where it's at.
And Zoans, yeah. Like I said, Zoans are underrated. People don't appreciate those as much. So you don't hear people saying that as much. But
Yeah.
I guess for the next matchup we have the sand fruit versus the human fruit. Any?
So what does the human fruit do per se?
It turns. All right, I've made this argument a million times. I'm ready to do it again. Basically, it gives you the abilities of a human, right? So, if a human were to eat it, you wouldn't gain any abilities.
Not at all.
Zero. You
But-
just lose your ability to swim. But any other animal, any other creature who eats this fruit is going to gain human abilities, basically. They're going to get the capacity to have human intelligence. Like, they're not just going to get super smart like that, as we saw with Chopper. Like, he had to train himself. He had to learn. So, they have the ability to, like, gain human intelligence and just, like, normal human transformations. Basically.
But there's also been plenty of other times in the series where we've seen
What is
I
a
believe it
normal
was a Vegapunk
transformation?
method, but we've seen like non-living objects consume a devil fruit, like a sword with the
Oh, yeah.
elephant fruit
Like,
and
you
things
could-
like that. So you could literally have a non-living object, not just an animal, like consume the human fruit, and
in that case, it'd be a lot better.
that's why I don't know what the possibilities are with that, but that's why I thought it'd be an interesting discussion.
Can I use the human fruit on a 2D waifu?
Possibly, like that's the
In which case
Yeah.
it wins.
Yeah, like what Ninja popped into the chat right here. This is the actual quote Oda said when someone asked him about it. And I don't know how this happened, but literally so many people are like, oh, Oda said that you'd become enlightened if you ate the human fruit. And no, like if you look at that right there, if you look at that quote, I mean, I if I have to, Jordan, I'll send it to you so you can put it on screen. But he's literally just saying like you basically find Jesus. Like that's basically the equivalent of what a human eating the fruit would happen. Like you become more spiritual.
Sand
You don't get
still
smarter.
slaps.
Like
Man,
you don't.
so it's, that brings me to another little piece of, or a little tidbit, I guess you could say. It's not really part of the argument, but crap, what's that guy's name? Is it Sengoku, the guy that turns into the Buddha?
Yeah.
That's just another version. Like, you know how you have different versions of the same fruits? Like, you'll have the bird fruit, but you'll have
Oh,
like
yeah.
the falcon version, hawk version.
Yeah.
So for the human fruit, you also have the Buddha, and it's just like a different version of the human fruit. Like, it's a more specific version that's not as generic.
Yeah, I don't
that's
think
also,
his
like,
is
a
as
mythical
much
thing.
like. I don't think Sengoku's is as much like enlightenment per se. I think it's more so like literally.
It's pretty
transform.
physical.
But
Yeah,
that
like,
means that you literally have the Buddha fruit, and from what Spooks just said, this is the fruit that turns you into Jesus. So,
That-
I mean, do you really
Well,
want to
no,
argue?
it doesn't turn you into Jesus.
I don't
it like
think it
makes you
does.
find religion, basically. Like,
No, it turns you into Jesus. You said it. I wins the bracket automatically.
Wow.
Nah.
No, but like the
Sand wins.
Sand
sand
fruit is
all the
pretty.
way.
Honestly, I feel like crocodile's fruit is like a similar case with Anel's, where it's like it was introduced kind of early and it's aged pretty well. I would say, like despite
yeah.
the fact that Loki is her thing, and the water, obviously. I mean, water does kind of affect just about like, any else
Everybody.
easier. So it's like it's not as much of a disadvantage as like you'd think. And like with how good Crocodile was able to be useful with it, I feel like just about anyone else could as well.
yeah, like Chopper's kind of getting sweeped, even if the human fruit was better. I feel like he'd still get sweeped.
Well, that's why I kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit, because like the sand fruit is, or the Sunasuna no Mi is one of my favorite Logia fruits. And I think it's aged really well, like you guys said. It's very powerful, so I figured it's probably going to win this first round. But the Hito no Mi just has so many possibilities that I thought it'd be fun to talk about, just because any animal, any non-living object, anything could eat that, and I don't know what it would take for it to be at its peak compared to.
Well, like
go from being the weakest fruit to the strongest fruit.
A lot of people also bring up the fact that like Chopper has all these different transformations, when realistically that's just because he has a drug, right? Like theoretically, any Zoan user could get a hold of that drug and do the same shit.
Yeah, it's literally just the rumble balls, something extraneous not related to the Devil Fruit anyways. So there's really nothing to the fruit on its own.
Like you could argue that maybe the monster point is like what his fruit would be like if it was actually like naturally awakened. Like I could definitely see that. Compared to like the other Zoans that are awakened, but he still needs to take that drug to even use that. So like if you take away the drug even post time skip, like he's definitely limited.
What about all his other forms though? He doesn't need the drug for it anymore.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying, because like basically he's taken the drug so much that I feel like his body's like adapted to it and it's learned how to like manipulate those properties. But any other Zoan user could go through the same thing, in my opinion.
Do you think he's like partly awakened at this point then?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I'd say just more like he's altered his body so many times that his body like recognizes how, it remembers basically. Like let's go back to Oxboy over here. Like you could give him that same drug, and if he were to take it all the time, like he'd probably find new ways to manipulate his body to like mix between human and ox, right? Like every single Zoan has the 3 transformations where it's human, full, beast, and then like the mixture. So Chopper's found ways to like mix in between those to make it like better with the rumble ball. So like any other Zoan could do the same thing. So it's not specifically limited to him, more or less. But since he's like naturally able to transform into some of the extra ones now without the rumble ball, like I guess we can give him like a little boost. But even so, it's still not beating Croco Boy over here.
Croco Boy, man!
That's one thing to consider though real quick is I think Devil Fruits in the One Piece universe are more of like a natural phenomenon more than anything else. And as such, like they can be manipulated with science. Like there's just the fact that we have Devil Fruits that are created like using Smiley and everything that like, artificially, like all Zoans can probably be altered in some way if you have the right science behind it, and the fact that you can create a Devil Fruit from nothing speaks volumes about that on its own. But
I'm voting Croco Boy.
Sand Fruit all the way. I vote.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a wash. Not a wash, but like,
I had to give my Chopper a chance here, but like that fruit's kind of booty.
Like, is it a 5-0 sweep, or does anybody want to vote for the human fruit?
5-0.
5-0. Okay. Nobody's taking that leap. What's next? I'm trying to look.
The Jim Carrey himself.
All right, so we got Jim Carrey versus the Magellan, the poison fruit.
Is the egg fruit even classified under a category?
It's not right now.
I don't think it is. That's why one of the reasons why I included it with the Logias, just because it would be kind of weird no matter what I put it with.
Like it's probably a paramecia just because it's whatever's left basically. But
fun fact, I think it's one of the only fruits, if I'm not mistaken, that changes your clothes along with the user.
Well, don't they all do that though? Like, well, I guess they don't change your clothes per se, but they manipulate your clothes as well.
Like, I don't think you understand.
His bow tie changes color.
See,
like his clothes change. Like they're not just. They don't.
No, I see what you're saying.
They turn into different clothes.
I feel like I don't know exactly what the name of it is offhand, but we'll just call it egg fruit over here. So egg fruit. I feel like if he has more than just 3 like transformations per se, I feel like it could be a lot stronger. Because if you just have like an infinite number of, I can yolk myself and turn into something else over and over and over. I mean, if there's no end to that spectrum, like you could probably like fight somebody for a really long time. But at the same time, like while you turn into an egg, theoretically, if you're going up against Magellan here, he could just, coat the whole entire floor in venom, and then you're just getting wrecked the second you like transform.
I will say the description says like, the best ability of the fruit is the ability to regenerate from severe injuries by evolving from an egg to a chicken.
Basically not dying.
But like
the new forms drastically increase their fighting ability as well, to the point where like the second transformation makes him a true knight, whatever you want to define that as. And like, should the strongest form be destroyed, they'll revert back to their weak form. But the fact that you can keep going strong over and over again for I don't know if there's a limit. It's basically an endless cycle. Like, I feel like that says enough on its own.
But what you also got to keep in mind is that the user is kind of defenseless while regenerating. Now, do we have like a gauge for how long it takes to regenerate? Because like
It doesn't take very long, I don't think.
Okay, but either way, they're still kind of defenseless, and I feel like given how like someone with the poison fruit is able to work, like I was surprised when the Magellan's fruit. I don't think it was Logia, right? I think it's actually Paramecia.
Oh, it is. It's because he can't turn into venom, but he can like secrete it.
Yeah, but it's so good though that it like it's just like pre-time skip where it's like Logia was the end all be all, and Magellan's fruit was so good. Like,
And you can't regenerate from being dead.
Well, I mean, he did get cut in half a couple times.
The egg guy?
Yeah, he got cut in half by Pedro, and the egg flew out, and then he turned into his other self. But like, it's kind of implied he only has like the 3 like versions of himself.
Mhm.
So I feel like, if you get through that cycle of 3 and he goes back to being weak, like at that point you know what to expect. So you can just
and the
predict
cycle
an egg.
the cycle only prevents it from dying as long as it's not like in the midst of evolution, like while they're transforming, it's not disrupted. And I feel like someone with the poison fruit would be able to just like just completely get it, like in
I
the
can't forget about Magellan's weakness. Diarrhea.
Oh, that's
True.
Yeah.
True.
Now, did that come with the poison fruit? Like, did it
it
just
does.
poison their like waste or something? Like what is that? Like,
As far as I remember, it's because of the poison fruit, and I don't think it has anything to do with what he eats. It just happens. He's in the
dang.
bathroom all day.
let me see if I can find that real quick.
I mean, there is one way to solve that, though. There is one way to solve that. You just wear a diaper and you're good.
I mean, I feel like there's some effects to having like nonstop diarrhea. Like some like dizziness, just like being unhealthy. So
And
you
this
could probably
turns
be more
into a gross
physically strong
conversation.
with absorbing his nutrients.
But I will say real quick about the Tamatama no Mi or the egg fruit. Like, I feel like it would sweep most Zoans in a comparison head on because, like a Zoan, like I said, it makes you stronger. It makes you faster, stronger, better. But it also gives you like the ability to heal yourself. And I know in a head-on fight, you're not going to be able to do that over and over, especially against like a fruit like the poison fruit. But how to say it, like, you might not even need to heal yourself at all until after the fight if you're strong enough, if it's in good hands.
Oh, if he's able to turn into a chicken, like maybe this is some like low-key mythical Zoan fruit over here. Like,
oh my god. Wait, I see it as like a maybe I really don't know how to classify like a Zoamisia, like a Zoan and Paramecia, like a subcategory or something.
And
like,
also, just kind of going back to what we said with devil fruits being a natural thing that can be affected by science, kind of like Chopper. Who's to say he only has 3 forms? Like,
well, that was my argument.
what if he awakens it and he has a giant chicken form? Like,
Like if he could keep going, it's
exactly.
probably a lot better than you'd think.
Yeah,
Because
but
he could just keep prolonging battle.
For the time being, I'm gonna vote for Magellan.
oh yeah,
poison
I
fruit.
For sure.
think Magellan's kind of an easy
Man.
one. We just like I think all of us like did kind of like feel like Magellan's gonna win this from the start, but we just like try to look at it from like the other side as well.
Well, that's kind of what I've done this whole first round. Like,
Yeah.
I'm able to see which one's probably going to lose, and then I go ahead and argue for that one. Since we won't have to touch upon the other one too much over and over. Like, we won't have to repeat ourselves too much. But
Yeah. All right. Now I think does that conclude like the first
First
preliminaries and stuff? Wow.
Oh yeah,
on to round 2.
the real battle begins.
Let the real battle begin. We have Aokiji's Ice Fruit versus the Rumble no Mi, NL's Lightning Fruit.
It should be a lot more interesting now.
Dude, I actually don't know what to do here. I think
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaning towards the Rumble no Mi.
That's what I was.
I think am too.
I'm trying to look at it though from the ice because the ice can really utilize how would lightning fare against something like I think lightning would probably
Well, I think lightning just moves a little bit faster. Probably has more explosive damage than the ice fruit.
Mm.
Yeah,
Like, they could both probably like paralyze people.
Like, I'm really kind of stumped on this one, to be honest. Like, I'm trying to consider all angles, but like, I am leaning towards the Goro Goro no Mi here for sure.
Here's my thing. Like, I know we're talking about the ice fruit, but I'm still ready for somebody to give me like some kind of hot take on it, because
Like, I'm just trying to picture
biased.
it.
I am biased. Like, the Rumble no Mi has always been one of my favorite fruits, just because of
Agreed. I love it. It's my
how you
favorite
can use
logo.
it for so many different things. But at the same time, I don't think either one of these necessarily just sweeps the other. Like, you have to at least consider what these fruits can do.
I mean, if the ice fruit can go up against its natural weakness for 10 whole days and like actually put up a fight, I feel like obviously it's going to be able to go up against something that's not quite a natural weakness to like an even further extent, to the point where it's kind of like, it's kind of a wash in a way, but
But
I feel
here's
like,
the
no,
thing.
I
Lightning is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say ice still probably conducts electricity, right?
And
I was kind of thinking that same thing, but here's something we have to consider. Like, we can't just go based on each matchup, which one would win in a fight between those two, because when you're considering the strongest devil fruit, a lot of the fights in One Piece are decided by matchups. Like, just because the Gomu Gomu no Mi beats the Rumble fruit in a fight, does that mean it's a better fruit? Like,
No, I think
No.
honestly, Luffy is probably the only person who could take on.
exactly. Like,
Or,
that's just a
like-
result of the matchup.
Pretty
Like,
down
you
to-
can't,
and
you
then
can't place all your weight on that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hey.
Also because Enru is so strong, he'd like his hockey's probably not at an extreme level. I think he has an observation to a certain extent. But just thinking about the fruit itself, I think it's probably one of the strongest in One Piece.
I wanted to bring up this because someone, I think it was Spooks or someone, mentioned like, I mean, Aokiji was able to compete against his elements like natural enemy for 10 days, and I just want to mention this. Yeah, he was able to compete fairly evenly. Now, if it was something like lightning is 5 times hotter than the sun, which I think we can use that as a good basis for something like Magma.
What the fuck? Lightning's 5 times stronger than
Yep.
hotter than
The
Is
both
that a
of
thing?
just
That's the
search.
thing?
Yeah,
there's no way.
But
The
people
ball-
get struck by lightning and they live. Like,
this,
The,
The
sun
surf-
is,
you
I
go
was-
near the
sun would
sun, you're
melt
dead.
you before you even got close to it. Though,
Alright,
where
the
people survive
surface-
lightning strikes.
I'm
the sur-
googling this right now. Like,
Yeah, I found it and it said, "What is hotter than lightning? Lightning's 5 times." The surface of the sun is a temperature of 10,340 degrees. A lightning bolt can reach a temperature of 53,540 degrees, and just a lightning bolt versus the surface of the sun.
Surface
think-
of the sun, okay.
I'm classifying this video as educational.
No, I think we can
Oh,
use. Do
Robin.
you think we can compare magma to the surface of the sun? Is that like a fair comparison?
I have no idea what magma.
I feel like
Yeah.
Magma's definitely not
2600
close to
degrees
that.
Fahrenheit or something?
I'm with the audience here. I'm just in it for the ride. I am learning a lot. I am gonna ace all my any other future physics classes I take, any future science classes I take.
Environmental science.
Yeah.
One
Like-
Piece edition.
I'm just trying to think of like all the advantages and disadvantages of each, right? Like I feel like they both kind of have an equal window, which is making it harder for me. Because like obviously, you know, lightning's a lot faster for one. It's a lot. It probably packs a lot more of a punch. It's hotter, like you said, or way hotter, obviously. But
Yeah, I think.
We haven't seen the lightning fruit like too much. It was only it was only there for one arc. But man, can we just look back on Sky Island and realize that it was a fruit that most people saw as invincible. Like nobody could touch. Like this was before hockey, granted, but like he just swept people left and right. Like there was no touching him, and it was mainly from the power of the fruit. Like Enel's not weak. He was the first person in the series that used hockey, I believe, where it was.
You also
he
have
was.
To, you also have to think about. Okay, this is sorry. This is a strain a bit, going a bit more into the science of it, because this is like really interesting. Like I have like a bunch of pages pulled up. I also have to think about like density and stuff. Like lightning doesn't really have one, whereas magma might have a bit more of a longing thing and can stick longer, whereas lightning would really just like kind of burn your skin and all that. So
Yeah, but you get struck with however many volts it was, 50,000 volts or whatever. How much can he do? Like,
Yeah, honestly, if you're anyone but Luffy, I think
if you're
you're
anyone
fucked.
but- exactly. Like even Zoro, like if he was anywhere near a normal human, like he would have not have survived getting shocked by an L. Like he was.
That's another thing.
incapacitated, But
That's another
That's
thing. Most
the
people's
Zoro
weapons
easy.
conduct electricity, so it's gonna be hard to fight against them.
Yeah, I think I have to go with the Goro no Mi on this one.
Yeah.
If I think about it. Like,
Same.
I just wanted to really ponder because
Yeah.
it's a tough. It's tough. It's tough.
It is.
Like,
You have
I
to-
can't see the ice fruit winning. I just can't.
I think
Yeah.
Aokiji was able to compete with the magma fruit, probably not because of his fruit itself, but because of him as like as an individual.
Yeah.
Didn't want to
taken
continue to
his-
win. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
And here's, if we're going to go ahead and consider a little bit more from the ice fruit, like if we want to go ahead and round it out and like talk about everything that it can do, like you do got to kind of mention that there's so many uses for it, as far as you can mold your body and change your shape to avoid hockey more than most other fruits would be able to do. You can travel on water, which is every devil fruit user's natural weakness. You can
Can Enru fly?
make an entire island
You can,
freeze
like,
cold.
basically teleport from.
Yeah, I honestly I feel like I'm trying to think of things, but everything I could possibly think of, Enru could do and better. Like
Yeah.
And
like he
the-
could teleport, like you said. He could probably fly. What else were you saying about Aokiji, Jordan? Sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're fine. I was just trying to look at different things that he can do, because, like I said, he can freeze an entire island, like dropping the temperature. And temperature is one thing that's, like I said, that's hard to compete against for anybody, unless you're just like a natural opposition to that, like a Kainu or somebody would be.
Hold up, that you might be onto something there, because like
Temperature is
What?
something that's hard to battle.
because obviously like lightning doesn't really exist in like snowstorms, like literally 99 out of 100 times, right? Like, is there a certain temperature that needs to be available for lightning to even exist or like be able to be conducted?
I don't know, but I don't think so. But I know that lightning is very hot. Like I believe it was Ninja. said
Yeah.
earlier.
It says 5,000 times hotter than the, or not 5. Sorry, 5 times hotter than the sun. I compared.
So, like, I mean, if we're gonna say that the Magna fruit could melt ice, I think lightning to
Yeah,
an extent would be
okay.
able to.
Yeah, but I think he's Spooks is trying to say maybe
Like you can't
Like-
conduct the lightning
exactly
if
the
like
temperature's too
yeah,
high. or
if he
too
makes
low.
the
I-
area like too cold.
I don't think that's really
I don't
relevant.
think that's a thing.
Since it's not like we're matching these two devil fruits against each other. We're really asking the question of which devil fruit would win in more matchups.
Oh yeah, that's
Rumble,
why I think
rumble.
Rumble's the way to go.
Right. that's what I'm
rumbles.
saying.
It was an interesting thought though, Spooks. Like thinking about if it could be conducted within the temperature. To be fair, I live in
It's
Canada
kinda
and it's pretty
game
cold, and I feel like we do get thunderstorms. Like
I don't
pretty
know if this
frequently.
is relevant at all, but according to Google, the planet's only thunderstorm-free locations would be areas close to both poles, like so the interior of the Arctic Ocean and Antarctica.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
I
like, I
don't
feel
know-
like that could be a.
I don't know if that's temperature related, but
But that also assumes that they fight long enough for the temperature to drop that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like even so, even if it was just purely one-on-one situation, I don't know if it's enough.
Yeah.
man, this is such a hard
And
match.
would it be able to drop that
Who
low
made the
if what's it called? If Eneru's conducting heat, right?
Yeah, like that whole time. Like I don't know. It's very situational, which is why I think the safest bet is definitely Lightning Boy.
Yeah, that's what I was. Ooh, I'm very excited for.
so diverse, dude. I love the lightning.
Yeah, the next one will be
Rumble
even better. Yeah, for sure.
Yo, light versus lightning.
Light.
Damn.
Hey, let's not
hey,
completely
are
go
you
to the
trying to
stone.
sweep my man Pika?
Because Pika the slender. is
Pika
not
Pika,
right.
get the fuck
Bruh.
out of here.
What the
Pika
hell?
Pika, get out of
Alright.
here. This is the real Pika out here.
Let's go ahead and cast the official vote. I vote Rumble Fruit. I don't.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
I vote.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Rumble.
Okay. So Rumble Fruit moves on. We got Lightning in the top 4. And next we have, what was it? The Lightning or the Light Fruit
Versus Pika, the Stone Boy.
versus the Ox Fruit.
Oh,
Hard one, guys.
No.
very, very hard one here.
frick! I think I'm gonna have to go with Oxford over here.
Ox Fruit won, didn't it? I'm trying
Nah.
to think.
And
I
it
voted
wins,
for it.
it wins
That's
again for sure.
I don't think it really even matters.
Yeah, we could speed up this round if we want, just advance
Yeah,
light.
I'm okay with that. I mean, this is.
Like, I want to give Pika the benefit of the doubt, right?
There's
But the more I
nothing you
think
can
about it, well, like
Here we go.
okay, think
What
of
are
it this
you gonna
way.
do against
I'm
Light?
gonna make this quick. Like we were talking about earlier, because the stone thing can be a little bit circumstantial in some cases. Like it's obviously not going to compete.
Plus,
I
I'm
feel like-
assuming his lasers can go through stone, right?
I mean, probably. I don't see why not. If it can go through a human body. Like,
don't
Plus, to
think it
even
would-
fight against a Logia type user for Pika, he'd have to use Hockey, in
Yeah,
which case
he's
he
too far.
couldn't just hide, right? Like, he
He's
probably
also
can't
too far.
infuse his Hockey into stone from that far away. He'd have to be somewhat close by.
I mean, the most notable thing about their matchup is that Kizaru's Delpher is named Pika Pika no Mi, and Pika has a
His name's
stone.
Pika.
That's literally the most notable thing about their matchup.
Okay.
I will say
Yeah.
real quick though, that's something to consider. If somebody uses hockey on Kizaru, they can cut through light. They can damage him. Whereas if somebody uses hockey on Pika, they have to actually hit his body. Like they can cut through stone all day long, like Zoro did. And
But that's why I think for
They're
the
not-
reverse effect, if they were fighting each other, how would Pika be able to do damage? Like, I feel like
Oh,
the
we're
stone
assuming-
can't do
I mean,
anything.
we're going based on
Kizaru
the
can
fruit,
also,
not the users. So we're assuming.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
What if
Kizaru can also
stone
can
users
create
whip hockey. Go ahead.
Kizaru can create like a barrage of lasers, right? Like he can just shoot them every direction.
Yeah.
So he could just like literally, like let's say Pika, you know, in his tallest, most stone boy form, he could just shoot lasers up the whole entire thing and hopefully, you know, get a hit. Otherwise, he'll like shred it to the point where he's all just a bunch of stones falling through the sky. Like he's got no chance.
Yeah, I think.
Light wins every time.
All right. So light 5-0.
Yeah.
Man, I
Nobody
don't like
wants
how
to
we're
be the-
always on the same page.
Nobody wants to disagree. Nobody wants to.
Oh, the real
argue?
arguments are gonna come up.
The one time we
Right
went
here.
4-1 is with Stone and Ox.
This next one, I feel I'm gonna be
Yeah,
be
I
bringing
think-
my A game.
It's gonna be one of my hot takes, I think.
Magma versus gas. Let's go ahead and hear that hot take, Frankie. I want to get into this.
Well, I mean, I think it's a situation kind of similar to one with like the dark fruit, where there is so much you could speculate about what this fruit can do. Like, first of all, what is this title of gas fruit? I mean, any element can be turned into a gas at the right temperature.
Hmm.
So, does this guy have control of everything? Is that what we're talking about here? Which
I mean, that's what I've always assumed.
So-
but-
more questions, like for example, let's say we have a melting point, or not even melting. It would be the vaporization point of iron. Okay, so if this guy was to use iron in a gas form, it would be pretty fucking hot. So you basically have the flame fruit right there too.
Yeah, like the way I see it, with the gas fruit, you know, you're already, you know, a gas, whatever that may be. But you also have the ability to take other gases into yourself to manipulate their properties as well, right? Or you can control any gas that's in the general vicinity. Since Caesar himself is super smart, he could literally just carry like little vials of glass on his or gas on his person, and each one has like a unique property that he can use for different situations in battle. I mean, obviously he hasn't done that, but it's more like he could do that theoretically.
but
and-
here's, oh, go ahead.
No, go for it. Go for it.
I was gonna say, like, going back to what he just said about the temperature. I don't think that's really necessarily something that's too. What's the word? Like, too. That's not gonna be something that's used very often unless he's going up against somebody like Akainu, because, like, he can use any type of gas. I'm assuming. Like, that's what I've always assumed about his power. But he can't just turn anything into gas. Like, he's not gonna be able to raise the temperature to use
Oh,
iron.
no.
Alright, but
He's
can
using
he
prep time?
Is gas.
can he manipulate like some already established like gases or whatever?
Yeah.
Caesar?
Yeah, he
Okay,
can
because I want to bring this up.
and transform into
Yeah.
gas at will.
Yeah, because I want to bring this up. Like magma versus gas, and I didn't expect this. Gas gives magmas their explosive character because volume of gas expands as pressure is reduced. The composition of the gases in magma. Magma contains dissolved gases, etc. etc. As magma rises towards the surface and pressure decreases, gases are released from the liquid portion of the magma. So in a way, if Caesar were able to manipulate the gases within magma, Kainu, just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
that's
like,
definitely something to consider. Oh, go
I
ahead.
I don't know if magma necessarily needs oxygen to burn per se, but if it did, I mean, I'm probably just ignorant to magma to be honest, but he could just get within whatever area he needs to be where he can take away the oxygen and just keep that up the whole time.
I personally don't think magma needs oxygen to burn.
Yeah, it
But
does.
I can't say because I don't
Underneath
know.
the surface, occupying the mantle and volcanoes and what is
That is true, but the reason there's like so
But-
explosive is we also think, are you trying to make it like explosive or whatever? The way you're able to make it explosive is through the gases. But if it's just like pure raw magma, then I guess it doesn't really need oxygen.
And here's the thing about magma, like in the One Piece universe and stuff, we know it because it's very hot. Like I said, it's a step above the Maranomi, which is just pure fire. But like if we're talking about actual magma, like erupting from a volcano, the thing that kills most people in a volcano isn't even the magma itself; it's all the gases coming up from the magma.
Yeah.
It's true.
Like it's very toxic, very poisonous.
I just want to say, like, for example, like I know you're saying,
That's something to consider.
if the oxygen's all taken away, maybe it wouldn't like. I don't think he could start fires with his magma or like create more, like more heat, for example. But I think the magma itself would still stand as being super hot, and like obviously Caesar wouldn't be able to touch it.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And I wish we were more scientifically inclined, because I know you can put out fire without oxygen real
Ace
quick.
would
I don't
be
know about
fricked.
magma. Yeah.
But another thing, from what we've just seen Caesar able to do like already, right? Like he can combust the air to create explosions. He can take the oxygen away, and he can also shoot frickin' laser beams. Are we gonna forget about that one?
And he can also make the air poisonous, right?
Yeah, he can make the air poisonous. Like his fruit kind of has a huge variety of possibilities, basically.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it's better.
And was Luffy able to survive the poison because of his immunity? Was that a thing?
Yeah, he had to rely on like Ivankov and all them as without like the Magellan thing of him being able to be immune at that time, I don't think he would have been immune to Caesar's gas.
And Caesar did beat him once with the oxygen thing because he wasn't expecting it. So like if no one else knows about that, he has like the upper hand at the beginning of any battle.
I feel like it's a far closer battle than I thought it was gonna be. But I think the gas one might be a little bit more broken. But then at the same time,
but
I think no one could take on the magma. Very few people.
We have to separate the magma fruit itself from Akainu. Obviously, Akainu we know is very, very strong, but how it's fair, and like, are we taking like hockey into account, like all that? Like, I don't know, because I feel like with hockey, like, how do you guys think? Well, Akainu's like always using hockey, but like, how do you think that would counter against someone like Caesar, who's like going to be in a gas form?
Well, Caesar can turn himself into gas. He can also just manipulate gas, which if you're just swinging at the air, you're not necessarily going to be hitting him. But I think that's one of the most broken things about Caesar, is the only reason he's as balanced as he is in the One Piece universe. He's still pretty broken, but it's because he's not physically as strong as a lot of these guys. Like if you were to compare Caesar versus Akainu physically, yeah, it's an easy matchup. But
I also want to point out, like, so if you were to separate the fruits from their users, like you guys said, and you guys also said that Caesar isn't as physically powerful, well, I don't think many people would probably be able to use his fruit the way he does. Like, for example, like I have no knowledge on chemistry whatsoever, right? So like, how would I be able to like use his fruit to the utmost ability if I didn't? I'd have to like do so much research to figure out what I could even do with my fruit.
That's
so I feel like
fair enough,
Caesar's been able to bring it to its limit, while like some average Joe that has it, like, might not be able to do as much stuff that he can.
Well, that's fair enough. Like as far, like that's a very good point. Very good point. But continuing what I was saying, like you don't even necessarily have to be able to use all the abilities of the gas fruit to be able to maximize it in combat. Like you give the gas fruit to somebody like Zoro, and all he has to do is be able to figure out based on feel how to take somebody else's oxygen away. And in a one-on-one fight, if you take away the other person's oxygen, like how often, if those two people are equally strong, how often is the person without oxygen going to
See,
win?
that's what I wanted to get to. I think the thing that is so overlooked about this fruit, and it's really strange that it is its most overpowered ability is the ability to take away oxygen. I mean, you're basically, as soon as the battle starts, you're putting a time limit on it, which no other devil fruit can do anything even like. I mean, how long can someone even last? It is One Piece, so it's going to be significantly longer. Probably like 10 minutes or something.
That's
For a high level
anime. So like going from Hunter x Hunter has been shown.
So all you have to do is last 10 minutes, and then you win by default. I mean, that is such a ridiculously powerful ability.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also saying that the opponent can't get away to like
Well,
get
yeah.
air.
I mean, you
But,
can
like-
run, but if you're having to run, I think that speaks enough about the fruit by itself.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
And like we've also seen that it can actually become like toxic warfare, like a toxic chemical that is literally made to turn people
Right.
like to kill them basically in like a very painful and slow way. So like you
I-
could go for it.
I think you guys convinced me. Like, I think Akainu was obviously stronger than Caesar, and that he would win in a fight against him. But taking the fruits individually, I think you guys convinced me. I think I'm voting for the gas fruit.
It's super underrated.
We also can't take away what Briggs said earlier. Like, if you
Chemistry
I'm
part,
voting
yeah.
for gas fruit, but yeah, if you put the gas fruit with its maximum capacity and you don't just go based on its basic abilities, if somebody could utilize it like Caesar can while also being strong, man, there's so much more that they could do with it that goes beyond its basic abilities, which is what I would vote for, just based on the ability to take oxygen away and manipulate that. Like, but if you can go a step further and go toxic warfare, etc., use a bunch of chemistry with it.
Like, then again, like, a lot of people don't even know the breakdown. Like, within the One Piece world, I'd imagine, most people probably don't even know the breakdown between, like, of air, like oxygen and hydrogen type of thing, or like,
Yeah, I doubt they do.
right? Like, I know, I was interesting in No Game No Life when Sora took away, he took away the oxygen, and then Jibril added back air, but then all she added back was like hydrogen or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a really cool fight for me. Like, I really loved that scene.
The One Piece world is in a very weird. Oh, go ahead.
I feel like someone other than Chopper, like a lot of people, like Zoro with the fruit would be an idiot. I feel like he probably wouldn't even be able to use it.
But what you also got to take into consideration is like the fruit offers so many pathways, and there's so much you could do with it. Like I feel like it would take a bit of time to get the hang of it. But if you're able to master it, it leads to so much better things in like the magma, where I feel like you're kind of limited to just whatever you can do.
Being a hot molten boy.
Yeah, basically.
Man, the One Piece world is in such a weird spot scientifically. Like, you have trains that can go on water, and then like
Also,
they
I
feel like
realize
it's such a basic culture most of the time, but then they have cyborgs and everything else. Like,
Also, I realized I said hydrogen. I think I meant nitrogen. I don't even know. See, this is what I'm saying. If I had the fruit, I'd be useless.
You got to study that periodic table.
even if you don't know what you're doing, Briggs, like I feel like you can just kind of wing it, and based on feel, like you could do something. You may not know what you're doing to them, but you could use it to some extent, even if you didn't know what you were doing with it.
Yeah. Even if it was just removing oxygen from air, like Frankie was saying, like that's enough to cripple most people in a fight.
Yeah, and a lot of like Magma and a lot of the attacks he's trying to do rely on the gas, and he still has his magma, but of like the explosive nature of magma, like volcanoes and stuff, is taken away via the gas being manipulated by Caesar, then he's at a huge disadvantage here. So it's so weird to say this, but I think I'm gonna have to pick Caesar's Dope Fruit over Akainu's, which you wouldn't think.
I kind of knew going in that I was going to pick gas. I didn't know where everybody else was going to go with it.
Yeah, I picked gas.
We're all kind of like agreeing here, to be honest.
No, I was actually going in with a bit more on the magma part, but then I looked at it a bit more. I'm like, the gas is kind of better.
It's broken, but like they made Caesar physically pretty weak, so it kind of evens out. Like that's the main reason it's not as broken as it could be for the story.
Caesar over Akainu.
Yeah.
Gas over Magma, not Caesar over Akainu. That's
Is this a 5-0 sweep again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for plot armor and like Luffy having like the ability or being somewhat invulnerable to poison, I feel like he would fuck up most people. Like being able to take away oxygen and poison your opponents, and like be a Logia user all the same. I feel like it's pretty OP.
Here's the thing, like a lot of these have been 5-0 sweeps, but these aren't like your typical 5-0 everybody agrees type of sweeps. Like these are the type where there's a lot of these matchups I've gone in kind of in the middle. Like I didn't know where I was gonna go in with it. We've just kind of argued until we reached a consensus based on everybody's.
Yeah,
that's
because
true.
like with me, because I don't know about you guys, I was trying to bring up points from both sides that we can use to value discussion. Like I go into most of these neutral, and then I look at them some more. I bring up points for both sides, and ultimately like make my decision. And we generally like can see which points from both sides are just.
Well, you guys changed my mind for this one. I was going in probably leaning a little bit more towards the magma.
Yeah.
This
like-
next one, though. I don't
If
know.
it was like a waifu bracket, I'd be coming in biased. So, like with Devil Fruits, yeah, I'm trying to be as neutral as possible. I'm coming in with an open mind. So
That waifu bracket was so fun, bro.
yeah, I'll have to do another one soon.
Alright, but now we got the next
Sand
round.
versus Poison.
Oh, this is a good
Weird matchup. I don't. I'm ready for somebody else to talk a little bit about this one because I don't know what I want to do with it.
I am 100% neutral. I'm just letting you guys know.
All right.
Yeah.
I want to propose a question. So, the venom in the poison fruit appears very liquid-like, correct?
Yeah, it's kind of.
So there's two things that kind of apply to this. A, crocodile is weak to water, right? Which is a liquid. So theoretically, if he were to get coated in poison, that might be like an extra disadvantage for him. Like obviously he's already getting poisoned because he's got poison on him, but it's also like liquefying him to an extent. But at the same time, crocodile can also remove moisture from the air and like his surroundings. So
at the same time, we can't go based on a one-on-one fight between these two. We also have to consider how would these fruits affect most other people in the.
Oh, I know. I'm trying to look at it from all three sides. Like, how would they do against each other, and how do they do like against other people, or just like as they stand as it is. I look at three perspectives.
The poison doesn't, from Magellan, it says the user appears to have full control of any poison they release, whether it be in liquid or gaseous form. So I don't think it's like completely limited to liquid. I mean, we see it more often, but I think it could be utilized as a gas. But yeah, I guess liquid would be more efficient.
It's a cooler fight, if you will. I'd rather see him.
I think I actually want to vote for Magellan here. I think the sand fruit like has too big of a, like being weak to water is a little bit too big, man. Like if you could drench yourself in water or even like get him wet, it turns into whoever's more physically stronger, I feel.
All right, before everybody bandwagons with Briggs here, I just want to go ahead and defend the Sunasuno no Mi a little bit because it was one of my favorite fruits from one of my favorite characters there for the longest time, and it still is. I think the sand fruit's underrated, but I think it was kind of done dirty. The fact that it appeared so early on in the series, it appeared very strong. Like I said, it was a Logia. And not only that, but Crocodile put it in its pristine, like the best possible environment for it to thrive. Like in a desert is where the fruit is going to be able to perform to its utmost.
That's why he was so good in Alabasta, and that's why he was the perfect villain for... Well, obviously he kind of made Alabasta kind of sandy in the first place, but I mean, yeah, he's able to do like a lot of his like best stuff that we're able to see, like being able to sense anyone who basically kind of like moves through sand or whatever. A lot of that is very, he would either have to like change the environment, which I mean, don't get me wrong, was a very big thing to do, and that's very powerful, showing that right there. But that's so, like I mentioned, situational, that if you're just like pit two people with Del fruits against each other, I feel like you would just do like a lot more effective attack.
Had he been able to use hockey a little bit more and stuff, you put the Sunasuno no Mi in that type of perfect environment where it is able to thrive, and I don't.
Actually,
if you take away moisture. It's hard to go against that. Like
I could just be misremembering here, but this is just something I want to like ask to get like the full picture because this could help decide my side here. So is Crocodile like obviously he can turn into sand and he can create sand, right?
Yeah.
And obviously any Devil Fruit user that's a Logia is gonna naturally be better within an environment that suits their element, correct?
For sure.
But is Crocodile kind of like let's use Gaara from Naruto as a comparison, where the more sand he has access to, the better he's gonna be?
Yeah,
probably.
for sure.
Like if you were to throw Crocodile into Marineford, obviously there's no sand around, so it's whatever he has like in his body and that he can naturally create.
He was in the Battle of the Best. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Pretty well. Yeah.
Like, obviously, if you go to Alabasta where there's sand everywhere, he's theoretically able to manipulate all that sand too, so it just makes him that much more OP. Whereas with Magellan, he can just create this infinite amount of poison because his ability is literally just to create it. He doesn't become it. So I feel like he's not as limited.
Honestly, since Logias have kind of become overrated as the series has gone on, I honestly like the part of his power I enjoy the most, or I appreciate the most, is the fact that like with his hand he can literally absorb the moisture from anything and dry anything that he touches, basically.
So that made me just think of something. So about the moisture thing, and so when you see like Crocodile is able to take out moisture from things, were you mainly referring to like when he was able to just take a lot of the moisture out from Luffy?
Like, he can grab a person, he can grab a plant, he can just dehydrate things with the...
Yeah, that's very true. But when it comes to something like you actually throw a liquid at him, let's say you throw like the venom at him, you can't really demoisture that, can you?
No, that's what I was asking at the beginning.
Yeah, that now I'm like thinking back to it and I'm looking at it from like both sides and I was like, Yeah, I feel like that would be the
Yeah,
case. I mean,
totally
unless very unlikely that he'd be able to grab a hold of like being able to
Well,
demoisturize.
I say that like we say that it literally states that like he's one of the very few Logias, like might be the only Logia that is able to kind of naturally counteract his natural weakness. Like
But also,
because
his
he can't
natural
dehydrate
weakness
things.
kind of counters it as well with
Yeah.
the water.
Like
yeah.
he can't just absorb water if somebody throws water at him. But if he goes against anything that has water in it, like he can absorb it through
At
that.
the end of the day, even if he can absorb poison to a certain extent, I feel like he'd just be poisoning himself by
He
extension.
would in a one-on-one fight. He's losing to poison, I'm sure.
I think I have to go with Venom Boy over here. I think I decided.
Too. There's a reason Crocodile wasn't able to just single-handedly get him out of Impel Down. Like, he was there. He didn't do much against Magellan.
I'm gonna have to go against good old Magellan here. Go with.
Magellan.
I'm at with. Yeah, I'm at with.
Yeah, I'm with you, John.
Yeah. I was 100% neutral, but now that I'm looking at it, I was like, yeah, Magellan.
Well, that's why I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about my boy with the sand fruit over there. I figured he was about to be out of the tournament for good, so might as well say a few words of appreciation.
We got the hypest round next.
Oh my
Top
gosh.
four.
The final four, man.
Ooh.
It's kind of funny because like the final four kind of like on both sides they all are kind of similar in a way.
Yeah, they are.
Man, I put these together great, huh? I take
So-
full credit.
It's basically like the two light boys versus the two poison boys.
Oh, this is-
exactly.
Honestly, I think the semifinals is gonna have me a bit more. I mean, the finals are gonna be awesome too, but the semifinals right now is what I'm like looking
Oh, boy.
forward to most.
I don't know what I want to vote for here for light versus lightning,
I was
man.
about to say let's just get into it, but I don't know what I want to vote for either.
I'm ready for someone to give this opening argument because I'm not doing it.
All
Does
right, you know what?
anyone have a strong opinion
No,
or
I'm
any
gonna go ahead and
questions?
give a strong opinion. I vote Lightning. I am going to go ahead and debate this to the end, unless somebody can convince me otherwise.
Okay, so
He can also like not only can he not have to charge up as like he can move. He can't move as fast as Kizaru, I don't believe, but he can move pretty dang close without the charge up time, which is huge. I feel like he has a variety of other uses for his fruit. Like I said, it's so. I keep forgetting the word, but like there's such a wide array of uses.
I mean, but so does Kizaru though. Is the thing.
Like what though? Like he can move fast. Like
I mean, he can move fast. He can travel like theoretically at light speed.
That's the same as moving fast. You just said the same thing twice.
Oh.
I don't.
Ooh,
Well, you can move.
Ooh.
Okay, let me rephrase that. You can travel long distances at light speed, not just like in your near vicinity. Like he can.
Yeah.
You've seen that he can just reflect his light and then just.
Okay, well, if you're NL, you can travel long distances at a third of light speed, which is
True,
still
but
pretty
not,
dang
you
quick,
can't probably
you
go
know?
the same length. You probably can't go the same distance as he could.
Man, I don't
Like
know.
you can just keep reflecting
You're
light.
right,
You just have to keep like lightning. I don't even know how to explain it, but
We
like
only saw him on Sky Island, but he could literally go like anywhere on the island, pretty much, couldn't he? Like, unless I'm just
Yeah, no, that's correct.
okay. All right, so I'm gonna pull out some numbers real quick.
oh,
I got another question.
It's-
I love
this
This
might-
what you're looking up.
This might change some things.
How fast is the speed of light compared to the speed of lightning?
Light. Now I'm getting as far as lightning goes.
there's like
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm getting like many different answers as far as light go. Like there's one where it says like a typical lightning bolt moves at around 224,000 miles per hour, and then it says like the light you see from the lightning travels speed of light, which is roughly 670 million miles per hour. So 670 million versus 224,000. I think that's right.
Kind of a sweep.
That's what they say. The light from the lightning that you initially see is pretty much the same as light, but like the lightning itself, the actual physical thing with heat, moves about a third the speed, is what I believe.
Yeah, I'm getting like that's why I don't want to like use that too much because I'm getting one where it says like light travels 300k, and then lightning travels 220k per second, 300
I think we
versus
should-
220.
Dag nabbit, Google, just give us.
I'm
one
getting
answer.
so many different.
I think we should just go under the assumption that what's it called? Kizaru moves faster when he is moving.
That's my point. Is the fact that they're both moving fast. It doesn't matter how fast when you're moving that fast.
I
Yeah,
100%
debatable.
agree with that.
But I
Oh.
think the fact that you don't need the charge up time is the huge difference maker right there. Like you
Okay.
don't. Like that's the biggest weakness of the light fruit, I think.
They're very similar in a lot of ways. I think we established that.
Yeah.
But can Enel create a sword out of lightning. Case in
No.
point. Case in point.
What if he gets a normal sword and puts lightning on it, coats it?
Yeah,
in
but
lightning?
like, what if you don't have a sword nearby? Kizaru can just
Doesn't need a sword. I've
Lightsaber.
No.
I like to think
Jedi
of it like,
Knight.
yeah, I like to think of it like Palpatine, where he has like his electric. Like he doesn't really need his sword, man. Like
I understand
like,
you want the
like,
lightsaber thing. That's cool. Kizaru can do a bunch of party tricks. He's basically as useful as Aqua from Konosuba with all his party tricks he can do with light, I'm sure. But let's be real. Does he hang with Enel's Rumble No Me? Does he hang with the big boys? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I just underplayed Kizaru so much, and I was surprised nobody called me out on that.
I won't be upset if you four vote for Enel, because I definitely understand it, but I just can't vote for him. I think I have.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Because I'm like, now I'm also trying to look at like, you know, the stroke of lightning, and the whole way lightning is able to show up is because of light. So therefore, since lightning is just a
Kizaru can't
smaller
manipulate
concept.
like other people's light, though, can he? Like he
Yeah,
can't
I really
is
haven't seen it, so I wouldn't
turn into it.
say
but
yes
yeah.
or no.
that's true. But,
I feel like if he could do that, he would have used that like way earlier. Like he's like, "Hey, it's dark now. You can't see." Like he would
Well,
manipulate
okay,
for
I got
light
another
that
question,
way.
actually. So, I could just be misremembering because it's been a while. But Enel's only able to create, like, one big bolt of lightning at a time, right? Like, he can't just be, like, constantly throwing bolts down left and right.
I have no idea.
I think
I
it
don't
varies.
remember.
I feel like he has like the one big one that's like super thick and covers like a different
Yeah.
surface area. While,
Depends on
he
the
could do like
voltage.
one that's like kind of smaller bolts that kind of just go in multiple directions as
Okay.
well.
So we know Kizaru can shoot, like, multiple lasers, like, at once. Like, a complete
Yeah,
just
it's pretty
barrage.
cool ability.
So, like, if we were just matching up, like, how fast they can each deliver, like, size of attack versus amount of attack, I feel like Kizaru probably has the upper edge of that, too. Just based on what we've seen.
we also have to take into consideration like the densities and like what would, yeah, obviously like light may be a bit faster than lightning, but like would lightning be a bit more like cause more of an impact because there's like a lot more buildup towards it and doesn't take as much time? Would it cause more of a...
I don't think. I still think Kizaru would do more damage. The only default is the charge up time. Because at the end of the day, if you're going that much faster, which is still like, say you're still going 3 times faster, I still think it's significant. Again, I believe that he's traveling at that speed even when he materializes into a normal state. In which case, like, or even very close to that speed. In which case, his force is still like way higher than Eneru's. But then Eneru also like applies heat as well. Like you're not just getting hit with a lot of force. Like there's also heat involved. You're like your nervous system's affected by the electricity. I think there's a lot more that's affected with Eneru's. I think I'm so close, but I think the charge up time does make a difference.
And let
Yeah,
me see if
that's
I can
what I was
convince you a little bit further with but going off of what you just said was what I was basically about to go to, is whenever Kizaru comes in contact with somebody that's using hockey per se, like let's say Rayleigh, you know, they're touching light, but it's not going to do anything to them. Whereas NL can electrocute anybody that touches him, like whatsoever. Like there's so much more to it than just being able to travel fast. Like you can't come in contact with the dude, hockey or not, without getting electrocuted.
Well, we could also assume that the light has its own like heat source, right? Like if we're going off of Star Wars logic here,
Lasers and
with
whatnot.
a lightsaber, when you get hit by a lightsaber, it burns your wound automatically. Like you're not sitting there bleeding out because like it's so hot. That's why it's able to cut through everything.
That's
so-
fair enough, because Kizaru doesn't just use a
Yeah,
lightsaber, like he shoots it like he can shoot lightsabers.
Yeah.
basically.
But good about the light.
Yeah, so like when he shot it at Marco, it just went right through his body, basically. So like it'd be the same type of concept. Whereas with lightning, I feel like I don't know.
It would like trickle you down a bit more, and it would be a lot more like it wouldn't like cut through you or whatever, but it would be burning enough to where it would have much more of like a long lasting impact, and more can be like thrown at you or something.
Hey,
like that.
let me go ahead and make one more argument that I think will convince a lot of you. I want you to take a close look at this bracket. Like pull the bracket up, look at it, and I want you to look at the face that NL is making, and I want you to look at the face that Caesar is making. That is the final matchup for sure.
They're both
I planned
super
it.
cocky though.
Determined. They're both looking at each other the same. That's how this video is going to end.
Okay, I do appreciate Enel's face a lot more. I definitely do. But Kizaru's also got that sarcastic type of tone going on here, and I really like his voice. Like it's one of my favorite things.
Also, I love that if let's say Kizaru does win this one and Caesar wins the next one, I love that Caesar's just gonna be completely shocked and he's gonna have to face off against Kizaru. So either way, like even like if we're going by like looks, like both would look really really funny.
That was what I was using to finally try to convince.
I'm still voting for Kizaru, but I understand if he gets swept.
All right, I vote for NL, so there's at least 1-1.
right,
vote for
I'm actually okay.
However you want to say
So
it.
I'm still like looking at it a bit more. I'm a bit undecided, but you go ahead, guys. I'll be the tiebreaker if I have to.
Fuck, my mic was muted. Frankie, what did you vote for?
Don't worry about it.
He's worried about what Frankie said.
You vote first, and then I'll repeat what I voted for.
Kai is no spooky voted for one, and Jordan voted for the other. So this is a huge vote. Do I tie it or do I make it the win? Right?
Well, I guess I get to find out after you vote.
Yeah, like you're trying to base it off of what Frankie does.
He always does this. That's why I try to go.
Like I agree with Frankie, no matter what Frankie says. I vote Frankie.
I think I might have to lean towards Enru here a little bit. And I think the main factor for me is because he can attack instantaneously, whether it's a physical or a non-physical, like electrical attack, while Enru is still delayed to a certain extent. So even if it's moving faster and even packs a little bit more force, because it's not instantaneous, I think it makes a difference. And also, like even if you apply heat to the light, to the fact that like his beams still apply heat, or his attacks would still have like heat involved with light, if you like take like the Star Wars effect, I think electricity affects your body a little bit differently than heat would. Like you would still get burned, but also like the electricity, like Luffy was lucky because he's rubber, but most people when they get like electrocuted, they're in like, a paralysis state because it affects the nervous system. So I think I'm gonna have to go with like most people. I guess like obviously it's not a normal world One Piece, but I think more people will get fucked by getting electrocuted once, you know, or a couple times.
That's
I
fair.
know most people have voted already, but I'm gonna go ahead and give another argument that I thought of.
They got mine.
Man, I have so many arguments for NL. It's not even funny.
I think I figured out my stance now. But actually, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
But who did Frankie vote for now?
A couple years back, Too Spooky tagged me in a One Piece make a crew video, and then
Oh yeah.
around like 6 months ago, like I say 6 months, I don't know how long ago it was. Frankie tagged me in a video similar to that. So I basically combined the two, and I wrote a whole script, and I still haven't made the video. But in that video, I would use Anel's fruit, and one of my main reasonings was the wide array of uses. Like I said, it can be used for a ton of things. But he's basically his own generator too. Like he can power a ship. He has electricity as much as he wants on that ship. He can be sailing the sea, and I don't know. They don't have to run out.
Well,
You
have
power
you
up
ever
the
heard of
city.
solar power?
No, solar power ain't even comparable. You basically get to
But it's natural energy.
Like, all right. I'm going back in circles again.
Go ahead, Mr. Ninja Star. Sorry.
So, if light is focused, I'm looking at like a lot of forums, Reddits, discussions as well. I mean, shoot, like the piercing thing is something really, really, really useful, and that can end a battle much quicker than just like electrocuting them like slowly. Or like if we're using like the Palpatine effect or whatever, but it has to be focused and there's enough charge time. Whereas the lightning one is a lot more destructive, and I think as we're able to see that with someone like Enru, and there's many things like making up lightning rather than just light, because lightning isn't just made up of light. There's like many things like the electromagnetic stuff and all that. So, shoot, I think I'm actually gonna go with Enru here. I was shifting to Kizaru. No, to Spooky. I was actually believe it or not, when I typed the message, I got mine still. I was like, all right, I'm going Kizaru because the piercing thing. But then I looked at it some more. I was like, wait a minute. Light isn't the only thing that makes up lightning. There's other things as well.
Yeah,
so.
like I totally understand it because it's definitely a tough matchup, but I knew where I stood.
Hey, Spooks. Yeah. I won. I convinced everybody. Lightning kills 40 to 50 people every year.
What?
I mean,
Really?
Just sit out and
9 and
sit out in
10
the sunlight for a
die.
little bit. See how you feel. Sit
All
out
right,
there for a
so
little bit.
in the finals, we have Anel, and who is his matchup going to be? I guess we're about to find out.
Boy.
We have Venom Boy versus Gas Boy. So we got the guy that farts and the guy that has diarrhea. How is this going to end up?
Gas all the way.
Yeah, I
go
vote
for
gas,
too.
just easy money.
Because somebody mentioned it earlier that Magellan also has access to poison gas, right? Like his venom secretes gas. I'm not. I still hung up on the last one. Caesar could literally just manipulate that gas to his own advantage.
But would he be able to manipulate the liquid part? Like, because let's say Magellan realizes that, oh, shoot, this guy can use gas. Let's say he does the liquid form instead. Now, do you think Caesar would be able to manipulate that part?
Probably. If he's able to
limited.
create Smiley from his own like design, and like basically use what Smiley is to absorb it into himself, I feel like he's got it in the bag.
I feel like I remember Caesar being able to create a liquid gas as well. Or am I wrong?
I don't know.
Well, like he created Smiley. Smiley freaking exploded into basically a gas. Like I don't know if there's any liquid properties left in that, but he was able to take what was a liquid poison, convert it to gas, and that not by his own hand, obviously, but
Use the devil fruit with that. Like, use the salamander fruit or whatever it's called to turn it into a lizard.
yeah. At the very least, if you were to put the two of them in a matchup, I think he would probably be able to use Magellan's gas against him, and also be able to like nullify his venom in some way, or just wouldn't be affected by it because he's already got the properties of that venom like within himself.
I know you guys are trying to give good arguments here, but I think we all know what the deciding factor is.
I mean, it's obviously the face. It's obviously the face, but I have to sound like I know what I'm talking about.
No, obviously.
Have diarrhea constantly, and I think that's the biggest deciding factor for me.
It's a huge weakness, man.
I'm going to go ahead and cast my vote for Caesar because what are you even doing with life if you spend half of it on the toilet? Like,
Don't underestimate the effects of malnourishment.
Yeah. Strangely, I mean, I'm kind of happy. Like we could, like Caesar was the better fruit. Because could you imagine if like the other fruit was definitely way better than Caesar? Where we just make Caesar's and we would buy Caesar just because of the face.
I literally thought about that when I first made this bracket. I'm like, what if like those two end up against each other in the finals? They'll be staring at each other all bug-eyed. I was like, nah, that's not gonna happen. Like I was looking at all the other fruits like the Yami Yami no Mi and honestly the light fruit. I was looking at the ice fruit, the magma fruit. I was like, nah, dude, I got that to happen.
You have the perfect thumbnail for this video. Can I just say?
Oh, how far we've come.
Oh.
So we're all in agreement with Gas
I
Boy.
think
Hell yeah.
So,
He's more broken in every way.
this finals, I think, is the one I really actually am not sure about though.
Lightning versus gas.
Yeah, this is kind of tough.
I need convincing.
They're
on this
so
one.
different though. That's the thing. Like a lot of
Yeah,
these
they
have been
are
pretty
pretty cool.
similar, or they're like complete opposites. But these are just so like unrelated. Like they're not opposite,
Yeah.
but they're not similar either. So it's
I
kind of
have-
weird to like base it.
I have an opening argument.
Yeah, what up?
go
You
for it.
cannot imbue lightning with hockey. So, by that logic,
Wait,
he will never get hit.
Hockey?
What?
Can you imbue gas with hockey?
No, that's not the point. That's not the point. Whenever Eneru would try to electrocute Caesar, he would just turn into his Logia form, and he would never be hit.
Oh,
But I mean,
but
even
would
if
that
you're
be
not
the same? Would that be the same for the gases and the lightning?
Not necessarily. I
Why not?
Here's the thing, like you can still.
Whoa.
Enel doesn't have to turn to lightning. Like you can still just punch Caesar and imbue it with hockey and be fine.
Well,
Yeah,
we've
he-
only seen that he has our observation. We never saw that he
We're not
actually
going
had.
based on Enel. We're going based on anybody with the fruit. Like
Right.
Based on the fruit. So.
Right.
To be fair, if we just look at them like as a fruit, I feel like the gas fruit, depending on who it's given to, for example, it was given to Caesar, who's super smart, so he could use the gas like effectively, but then he's not physically strong. But if it was given to someone who's physically strong, that's pretty stupid, he might not be able to use the gases as effectively as Caesar. While with the Rumble, I feel like if it's given to anyone, they're going to be able to move super fast and they're going to be able to do strong attacks.
Even if
Like-
they're dumb or smart, yeah.
Even if they're dumb or smart, they're going to be super fast and super strong.
It's definitely something to consider. Like you basically have a fruit that's very user friendly, very beginner friendly compared to a fruit with a potentially higher ceiling. So
But would it be able? But like we also have to think back. I don't want to like keep repeating the same points, but the oxygen thing is like such a strong thing.
Yeah.
And how- we also have to
insane.
consider like I'm trying to find like how lightning would compare to like oxygen and gas and all that.
hard to compare. Like,
Yeah, and it's like I'm not able to find anything. Like when I try to do like electricity versus gas, I just get stuff for like your home and stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm trying to figure out which one to win in a fight. Not like
Hey,
Yeah.
just
But you
remember,
got to think like because of how fast Eneru can move, he could teleport far
Yeah.
away, breathe,
Yep.
come back.
That's what I was gonna say. He could, like, if he could realize what was happening, he could just teleport out
Oh,
of
that's
Caesar's,
interesting.
like no oxygen zone.
Mhm.
Like being able to move fast
That's
is
so
insanely. It's like is super important, which is why I always would like to say like stuff about like Smoker and Ace. I don't like underestimating them because being able to fly, being able to move fast is super like could
Yeah, it
change
is
a
really
battle.
good.
It really can change a battle.
I'm watching too many Frankie videos, but I agree 100%. I
Uh,
do want to go ahead and say
Damn, I don't know
take
which
a little
one.
bit of a break to give you guys some time to think. I do want to go ahead and tell anybody watching this video that this is going to be a episode 1, part 1 of a string of Devil Fruit brackets / competitions. There's going to be at least 7, and all the winners are likely going to face each other in one final grand bracket.
What?
So the winner of this is going to be very important for the ultimate Devil Fruit. Like we can't just decide who's the best out of these 16. We got to decide which is the best
The best of the best.
One Piece. Yeah.
The true best of.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. None of us knew that. We literally just found that out.
That's why I made so many brackets. Like I know it's kind of hard because there's a lot of Devil Fruits that haven't really been
Explored.
explored at all. Like what's the dude that can make himself instruments? There's him. There's
Scratch Man. My guy.
yeah, Pooh. Like there's him. Like his fruit hasn't really been explained. It's been said that Sanji's sister has a fruit, and her fruit, like we don't know what it is. Like we haven't seen it.
Is that a fruit? I thought that was just her.
No, like, that was her ability that we saw, but it said that she had a
I
fruit.
think, but we don't.
It is.
I
Okay.
think they did say she has a Devil Fruit.
Yeah, and we don't know what it is. Like it could be anything. So like there's a lot of fruits we don't know yet, and One Piece is gonna go on for 20 years. So I can't include everything, but you know, I do think it'd be cool.
What would be cool if you did the top 2 from every bracket? So you, like say we do 8 brackets, you'd have another 16.
All right.
Because I would love,
great.
I would love like Reju's to go up against like Caesars or whatever. I think that would be really awesome.
See that takes away the fun from it.
Ah, you're right. You're right.
That
You're
takes
right.
away the pressure of you guys having to decide right now, because
Yeah.
that's why I said that, to make this moment so huge for you, to put on some pressure.
Man, there's
But,
so many
you know,
good ones in this.
Oh,
This is
that's what I
honestly
might do is I might have a fan poll to go along with every bracket, to where the winner of the fan poll, out of all the losers, will also advance, or something along those lines. Like I think that could be interesting, to have a loser or two get a second chance against
Mm-hmm.
other competition. But for now, I don't know. Let's just make this as pressure filled as possible. The stakes are high. Lightning
the-
versus gas.
The
Anybody?
reason I'm voting for Rumble, the lightning fruit, is because if I look at this entire bracket, I genuinely believe that Enru could beat them all in a fight.
Eneru though, the versus Delfruit, like
And any other person in this bracket with their devil fruit and against his devil fruit, I think he could win. Like I know, like we can't say against Caesar, like specifically because he could get rid of oxygen. I would say that he could teleport away and breathe and come back. But then I literally apply that logic to like every other battle. I think he could win. Maybe the closest fight would be the magma fruit, but even then, I think he would win.
So you're taking into account like the users of the fruits themselves, right? When you say that.
Not even like I am, and I still think he'd win. But if you take out the users and their like ability to use hockey and stuff, I think it makes it even more in his favor.
No, I love it. That's the definition of a hot take. We got it from the power scaler himself. And now is Admiral level confirmed.
The thing is, like, I feel like the same thing can be applied to Caesar. Like, I feel like most people in this bracket, he has some sort of advantage that he could get against them to beat them in the long run, right? Like he has so many possibilities with what he could do. Just thinking of all the possible elements out there that can be a gas, and since he knows how to make like actual chemical weapons, he can push that even further. Like, if he has any prep time whatsoever, I feel like he can overcome most of his opponents, if not all of them. And I feel the same can be applied to this, but I don't know what logic I'm looking for yet.
But for example, like with Caesar, I think circumstances aside, like I think he could defeat a lot of these people. But then if he were to run into someone like Akainu, Kizaru, or Aokiji, any of those people, I think they'd be able to kick Caesar's ass, even though he's more broken. I would think it'd be a very, very close fight. While I still think Enru would slap.
Man, I do want to go ahead and say that, like, when I first saw Enel's fruit, like when we were on Sky Island, I thought it was the most broken thing. Like, I could tell already that rubber was going to be the natural weakness, so that's how they were going to be able to stand a chance. But like, it was so far ahead of its time, and I didn't know how they were introducing a fruit that strong. But at the same time, when I first watched Punk Hazard, man, I kind of thought the same thing about Caesar. Like I saw how his gas fruit worked, and man, I was like, dang, that's overpowered. Luffy can't breathe right now. How are they going to be able to stand a chance? And like they got kind of lucky that Caesar's not physically a force to be reckoned with.
But that teleport though, that's kind of the deciding
It's
factor.
also
Huge.
I like to think about like what makes lightning, and if you like bring it into kind of like is lightning a solid, liquid, or gas, and why? And if you think it's like a gas, it's like, well, you could maybe argue if Caesar's fast enough, or if someone with Caesar's fruit is fast enough, they'd be able to manipulate it. It's very low chance considering how fast lightning moves, but if they would be able to manipulate it, I mean, lightning is plasma, and plasma is considered to be a highly ionized gas containing about an equal number of positive ions and electrons. So basically, plasma is just a higher level form of gas, but with how fast lightning moves and with how like quick you would need to be able to like think fast enough to be able to like manipulate it, I feel like lightning would still have the advantage over someone that could manipulate
Can I
gas.
just say right now that I am so glad I invited you to be a part of this bracket. Like you are basically Bill Nye the Science Guy. You're so educational.
No, I'm just like I'm trying to like bring in like a lot of the. I think it's important to look at like the properties of, because a lot of these are the reason I wanted to pick this one in particular. Like you showed me like all the other brackets and I liked him, but this was definitely my favorite because I felt like with like stuff like Logia's, the discussion can actually go a bit further than just like the users and all that. I can go into a bit like the properties, what counters which, all that. Like that's really interesting to me personally. So I like pulling up research.
No, for sure. I love how, like I said, we're kind of expounding upon like what the limits of the elements themselves are for the fruit and how far somebody that ate that fruit would be able to take it. Like I said, I love this.
Yeah.
I love the direction this is going.
As much as I'm biased to the gas fruit in a lot of ways, I think Briggs has swayed my argument. I think I should probably go Gorgo no Mi. Like, I'm trying to rationalize it in any way that I can, and I think he's right in the fact that not only would Enel be able to sweep Caesar in a one-on-one in basically almost every scenario, but he also sweeps most people in general. Like, not everybody, obviously, and like, certain factors come into play always, but I can't really see Caesar doing the same with his
I don't know. I'm still so torn because as biased as I am towards the Rumble fruit, it's kind of like me and Frankie were saying earlier. Like, if you put a time limit on a fight, like I know it won't be a time limit in a direct matchup because, like Briggs said, Enel could just, if he realizes what's happening, he can teleport.
Yeah, like that's his thing that stops.
But against most people, putting a time limit on a fight is, man, that's such a huge difference maker. Like that's huge for any fight between two people that are about even. Like,
And that's why I think he deserves to be in the finals, just not win the finals.
Yeah, like I feel like he's super
I
under-
agree.
So what are the? Well, if anyone has like more arguments, but like right now I'm still like on Eneru's side. I'm picking him.
Dude, I've been for Eneru this entire bracket. Like I've been so biased. But I'm torn right now. I honestly don't know which way I want to.
Like
I don't like agreeing with Rocky this much. We've been on the same page this entire bracket.
I feel like Caesar has more potential to like overcome any situation, whereas Enel's kind of limited. Like, there's basically no way he could go up against Luffy and win at this point, based on what we've seen. It's just the natural weakness is too strong. Yeah,
That's
the
why
natural weakness is too strong.
big matches or matchups because matchups are huge in most shows, but especially in One Piece.
But I think that's exactly why they introduced Eneru. They introduced Eneru separate from the story because he's so broken, and like they separated him like from the world itself because he's so broken, and then made it that only really Luffy could win because he's his natural weakness.
Yeah,
That's fun.
Sky Island, just out of curiosity, like I know, I don't think he died or anything, but like, has he been shown?
he's on the moon.
Yeah. And on one of the cover stories, he's shown like he's basically like colonized or like the leader of colonization on the moon. That's why people are saying like, he's gonna come back soon. Honestly, that's why I'm really excited to see him come back because we really only see him like within the context of Sky Island in his own little world. I want to see like how he is compared to like the rest of the world.
Yeah, like the average.
Enel is Yonko level. He's got his own territory. He's got his crew.
He's got his own territory on the fucking moon.
You mean like one of those little pieces of art that
He
readers?
dominates the sky, man. The sky is bigger than the land.
He's the pirate king on a different planet. Like,
I'm so curious about what you guys are talking about right now. Do I need to Google it? Like, is that like a picture?
Like a cover
Never
story.
seen the covers.
It was like
I haven't
for a
seen.
little while he had like his own little cover story where he did stuff on the moon.
Well, I will say for the longest
people up there.
time, for the longest time, I tried to be anime only with One Piece because I caught up around the time that it was the War of the Best in Marineford, or Marineford. Man, I can't speak. Anyway, I caught up around that time, and I just went week to week for years. And I was only around like 6 months ago that around like Whole Cake Island where they or Too Spooky here and Briggs just convinced me, hey, go ahead, catch up and read it. And I'm glad I did, but I haven't read all the manga up to that point.
Well, the NL cover story was shown around the Thriller Bark arc in the manga, and I know this because I've read the arc like twice in the manga. And yeah, that it was shown there, so it's kind of understandable why I haven't seen it yet. But I think either way, he'll probably come back. I don't think he'll be like a major part in like one of the future arcs, but I think he'll maybe like have a cool little cameo or something.
That's hilarious though if he actually plays a big role. Like if they brought him back. I don't think he will, but I would love to see
Him in the final arc.
comes back to the last war.
I've had about 20 different arguments for NL in this bracket, and putting all of those with the fact that you said he's basically already the pirate king of a different planet, or I guess the moon's not a planet, but you know what?
Yeah.
He's already his own pirate king on a rock in the middle of space. Man, I'm gonna go ahead and vote for NL. 1-0. Everybody else, go ahead and say their piece.
I already voted for it now.
As soon as I saw the whole, as soon as I like saw the thing about like lightning and lightning gas and like because I was split. The part that was kind of splitting me here is that lightning is kind of made up of gases, but you need to manipulate that gas, and lightning moves so fast that I feel like it could probably overpower like whoever's manipulating said gas. So I'm picking Ender here. Right now, whatever.
And so we're already one bracket in, and the strongest fruit in that bracket, as determined by the experts here presently, man, it already lost to the protagonist of the series. So what is there really even to this? Luffy's the GOAT.
Yeah.
It's also a 1 out of 1,000 matchup.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing we were kind of considering, though. Like, we can't just say the rumble fruit versus the gas fruit. Like, we have to say, how would this fare against the rest of the world? And there's not much anybody would really be able to do against the rumble fruit. Like Briggs was saying, I think NL would have a chance against anybody else in this bracket.
Like I'm saying, maybe just Aokiji and not Aokiji. Maybe just the light fruit and the magma fruit are close. But even then, like I'd still vote for the rumble. But I think it's a close matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the light fruit was one of the only two matchups on this bracket. I think that ended up with not a sweep. Like it got a vote, and the ox.
Oh, well,
Dude, I'm
the
still
ox
thinking.
fruit.
I'm still thinking about the lightning because you could literally argue both ways and both
Yeah.
would work.
I had to stand my ground.
Spook stood his ground with the light, and I stood my ground with the ox, and everybody else is a follower.
Yeah, had to follow. You know.
I don't like agreeing with Frankie.
So NL is the winner, or the rumble fruit's the winner, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I guess you heard it here, folks. That's the experts have decided. Thank you all for coming and being a part of this bracket. Do you want to go ahead and go down the line and talk about what you do? I mean, the links to everybody's channels will be down in the description, but let's go ahead and go down the line, and you guys can talk a little bit about your channels.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just volunteer then.
Oh, yeah.
My name is Frankie. I mainly talk about One Piece on my channel and some other anime sometimes. And 2 videos ago, I made one about Game of Thrones. So sometimes I do some weird stuff. But yeah, I guess if there's anything that sets my channel apart from others, I don't understand how this is the case. But apparently, I make very controversial videos in terms of my opinions.
He really hates Ace.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think Ace is the worst character in One Piece. So.
Here we go again.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
All right. As you saw, Frankie's the type of guy that likes to take charge, volunteer to go first, and Briggs is the type of guy to wait on Frankie's opinions, where he'll know how he is.
So I think Ace is the best character in the series.
You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'll go ahead. Actually, it's funny because I've been so like this bracket format. That's kind of been the nature of my channel quite a bit lately.
Oh yeah,
and
I'm
then
really ripping you off, 100%.
and then also on like the podcast that I co-host, Rank Cafe, we do a lot of brackets there. So if you're interested in like similar content, definitely check us out. I've also been jumping on the bandwagon of controversial opinions, to say the least, between my brackets and like my Goku versus Saitama video. So I found it's been pretty effective, similar to Franky's channel.
And that was one of the main goals of this video. Just give you some more experience power scaling. You know, that way.
Yeah, clearly.
Solidify your arguments for future content. Ninja or Spooks, whichever one of you two wants to go.
You
can
got
go.
this, my guy.
All right, cool. Yeah, I guess I can just go. Yeah, I'm a guy who just kind of goes with the flow of things. I like to. At first, I was just kind of mainly covering Dragon Ball content, and then I learned, and then I tried to do like many other things. And I don't like limiting myself to one specific series. I like to just talk about what I like to talk about. I mean, you guys will see like a frequency among videos, but that's just typically how I'm feeling. Like my most recent video, the Attack on Titan one, I just made it because I was like rereading certain chapters in the manga. I was like, you know, let's just make a video on that. Or one where it's Full Metal Alchemist. Like I was watching the ending again. I was like, oh, I'll make a video about the ending or whatever. I'm a bit irregular with uploads right now because I'm busy with stuff in my current life, but I've got plenty of ideas planned for many, many different anime. You don't just have to limit yourself to one series to enjoy my channel. So yeah.
I like it. I feel like he was taking shots at the two previous people.
No. I love you guys, God.
No,
You
no,
guys
I
have
was
respect too.
taking shots. We got Frankie with One Piece, Briggs with the old Seven Deadly Sins content.
I mean, if
Dude,
anything,
I haven't made a
Frankie-
7 Deadly Sins video in a while.
if
I'm
anything,
just giving you a hard time.
Frankie's a bit diverse too, because it's like, I mean, I limit myself to anime, really. Like different anime, yeah, but like Frankie does like Game of Thrones and stuff.
I haven't read a lot of the Attack on Titan chapters. Like I said, I haven't caught up on the manga at all. I've been anime only for the most part. So like I was halfway really excited to see you upload again after like 5 months, see the it's over, but I was bummed because I haven't watched that video yet because I haven't. I'm not one to spoil myself, but yeah, go check out Ninja Star as well. And man, saving the great for last. Spooks, you want to introduce yourself?
That's false. But basically, I don't even know what my channel is anymore. But I talk about a lot of different stuff. Most of it's anime related. Some of it's video game related. And I'm also going to be starting a series on different live action manga adaptations soon. And it's going to be a blast. Very slept on genre, in my opinion. And
Yeah.
if that sounds interesting to you, feel free to stop by. But make sure you check out the other lads first.
For sure. Check out everybody here. But whenever I say Spooks is the GOAT, I mean, most people will plan ahead, but whenever he says he's starting a new series, he's the type to literally plan 100 videos ahead.
No exaggeration.
He literally has a list of 100 videos that he wants to make.
The amount of
This is in 2030. We're still in 2019.
the amount of
He's like,
Blu-rays and DVDs I've bought over the past couple months is kind of disgusting.
Oh. But yeah, thank you guys all for coming. It's been fun. I'm not sure how long this has dragged on. Looking at it, we've been talking for a little while.
4 or 5 hours.
Man, not quite 10 days, but close to it. So like I said, thank you all for coming.
Thank
The
you.
Rumble Fruit moves on to the final bracket, and
Drop a like.
drop a like if you like the video.
Oh yeah.
One Piece.
Hell yeah.
Anime Dude out.
Shinpaku.
Fuck
Feature
yeah.
to it.